On day 1, I spawned in as Distorted Alex. Only 4 hearts? I should stay out of trouble with health like that, especially since I'm Distorted Alex, creepypasta legend, and enemy to players and villagers everywhere. Luckily, I had the power to turn invisible. Now you see me, now you don't. Time to scare some villagers. But hey, where is everyone? I started sneaking around the village, but it looks like all the villagers are gone, except for one. Hello? Wait a second, that's not a villager, that's an illager, and it looks like it wants to get me. I turned invisible and ran inside a nearby house. I turned around and saw that I wasn't alone in there though. There was a hungry wolf with me. He must be able to smell me, even though I'm invisible. I tried to escape, but the wolf kept following me. I ran out of the house and looked for another one to hide in. I found one, but there wasn't a door. Luckily, there was a chest at the top, and I managed to block the entrance with a wooden block. I'm gonna stay inside this house until morning so the illager and the dog won't find me. Maybe I'll be able to find out what happened to the other villagers tomorrow, since what good is it being Distorted Alex if I can't sneak up on people? On day 2, I opened a treasure chest inside the house and found some cobblestone and wood, which I used to make a shovel and an axe. I was ready to use the axe on the wolf, but after I had removed the wood blocking the entrance, I could see that the wolf was gone. It looked like there was also a basement level to this house, so I went down. Oh no, is that another wolf? Luckily, it wasn't a wolf this time, it was a friendly dog.
You're not my master.
No, I'm not. But what happened to your village? It doesn't look like anyone is here anymore.
Those illagers took all the villagers away a few days ago. They had wolves with them too, and I had to hide down here to get away from them.
Where did they take them?
Over the hills, to the north of here. You look scary, but would you be willing to help me? Please? Please rescue my master.
I know that I was supposed to be Distorted Alex, but how can you say no to a puppy dog? Looks like they needed a hero, even one that looks like a creepy version of Alex. Okay, I'll do my best. I looked around the basement and found an iron sword hanging on the wall. Finally, a weapon! Just then, I noticed I was feeling pretty hungry. I took a look inside the sacks and barrels, but they were all empty. The dog sniffed around and pointed to a barrel. I took a look inside and found some baked potatoes among a bunch of other food. I could tell the dog was hungry too, so I tossed some food out to him.
Ugh, I don't eat this. I need some bones or meat.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't worry, we'll find something for you soon. On day 3, I decided to dig a cave beneath the basement to see if I can find any more materials down there. But to do that, I needed to craft a pickaxe. I put out the fire, then got to work crafting a pickaxe. I'll even give one to the dog so he can help me mine. We dug a little too far though and got attacked by a lurker. Get to safety, dog, I'll handle this. I turned invisible and snuck up on the lurker, using my sword to bring it down. Looks like defeating that mob brought me up to 6 hearts. Awesome! This cave isn't actually all that dangerous. I think I'll make it my underground base. On days 4 to 5, I went outside and noticed that after my level up, I can also warp short distances. Awesome! I started gathering wood from the surrounding trees. I used my warp a few times to get up the tree and reach all the logs, and even to cross a river and a ravine. I started heading back, but oh no, it's that illager again. He must be patrolling the area around the village. I warped out of sight and turned invisible so I could listen to him talking without being detected. Thought I saw another pathetic villager to capture and bring to the redstone mines, but I guess not. So it is true, the illagers were the ones who took everyone away. I guess it figures that all of them didn't just leave on their own. But now how am I supposed to live up to my legend? I'm supposed to be the one who makes all the villagers run away from the village. They're supposed to be scared of me, not these lamos. I couldn't let them take any more people. He was no match for me now that I was stronger. I was able to hit him hard and take him out quickly. On days 6 to 8, I first improved my base in the cave. After that, I mined so much stone from the underground that I could craft a suit of stone armor to protect me. But first, I needed to craft the cobblestone into cobblestone nuggets, which I smelt into cobblestone ingots, and then crafted those into the armor. I dug down even deeper into the mine and took on some cave spiders. Take that! You spiders think you can be scarier than me? I'm Distorted Alex, the best creepypasta around. My armor and sword were both really great, but when 3 cave spiders with poison take you down to half a heart, it's no fun. I looked around but could only find coal, so I grabbed some. This place is scary though, and I swear I hear some creepy sounds. I'm going invisible. Oh, right, when I'm invisible, I need to take my armor off. Now let's get out of here, don't want to risk getting hurt. On days 9 to 10, I went to the nearby hills in order to search for those redstone mines that I had heard the illager talking about. All the real villagers, including the dog's human, were probably there right now, and they needed my help. Of course, they don't know that I'm creepypasta yet, but we'll cross that scary bridge over a scary river when we get to it. For now, it was time to find out what I was up against. I showed up to an area where a lot of redstone was being hauled out of a cave in a minecart. This must be the place. There's also this huge green guy with a giant sword.
All the redstone will belong to me, the great Crushmore.
He was no joke. I better not mess with him. Good thing I could sneak inside the mine with my invisibility. Maybe I'll be able to scare Crushmore later, once I level up more. Just as I suspected, a bunch of villagers were being forced to mine redstone non-stop. I like redstone as much as the next player, but there are limits, man. Haven't you ever heard of the phrase, mind your own business? Whoa, Crushmore even captured a shopkeeper. I decided to reveal myself to the shopkeeper. Hello, Mr. Shopkeeper. My name is Zozo, and I'm looking for the owner of a nice dog.
My dog is okay? Thank goodness.
He's waiting for you back at the village. Come with me, I can sneak us out of here.
I'll only go if you agree to help the rest of the villagers. Crushmore is making us mine every day without any breaks. He needs to be stopped.
Deal. What else could I say? We started to sneak out of the cave, but he spotted us. Let's get out of here. On days 11 to 12, I fixed up the house so that the shopkeeper could move back in with his dog. He gave me some health potions and agreed to let me keep expanding the basement as long as I defeated any mobs that came in. I found a troll in the mine, and my iron sword couldn't do anything to it. It just kept healing. I had to drink one of my health potions. What are trolls weak against anyway? Maybe I need something that damages quicker than it can heal. Fire could do the job. I gathered more wood and crafted some torches. Then I noticed I had no armor equipped. The next time I see the troll, I'll be able to light it up. Ha! Sick burn. And I'll make sure to wear some armor this time too. I went back to the troll and used the torch to light him on fire. Looks like fire attacks are super effective. I should stock up on flint and steel as well. That way I can use fire whenever I need to. Distorted Alex can burn down buildings, right? I guess I might as well embrace it. I started to find iron and other metals in the mine, so soon I'd be able to craft steel and upgrade my armor. I crafted an iron chestplate, iron boots, iron shovel, and iron pickaxe, and had to go grab one last piece of iron for the flint and steel. It'd be nice to get a new weapon, too. On days 13 to 15, I was at the base when the shopkeeper decided to tell me what happened when the villagers were taken away.
We were always worried about Crushmore. For a long time, he made us give him all the redstone we had, or else. Some of our people didn't want to give up their own redstone, so they became outcasts from us. Those were the Illagers. We never could have imagined that they'd team up with Crushmore and bully us into doing their dirty work. Now everyone is trapped in those redstone mines, and the village will be empty until somebody does something about it.
How terrible. Won't you do something, Zozo?
I thought about it, and then I gave my answer. The truth is, I'm an outcast myself. I'm not saying what the Illagers did was right, but I totally understand not wanting to give away their materials. You're all scared of Crushmore, and so am I. Sorry, but there's nothing I can do. It felt really weird to admit that I was scared, but I had never seen a boss as strong as Crushmore. He was probably close to 100 times as scary as me, and I was supposed to be the creepypasta character around here. That doesn't seem right. The shopkeeper and his dog were saddened by this, but what I had said was the truth. On days 16 to 19, I left the empty village and left my base behind to go find the materials to make a better weapon in the mountains. Crushmore would come looking for the shopkeeper and his dog eventually, and with all the Illagers he already had on his side, he'd be totally unstoppable. I saw some light at the top of the mountain. That's the way! I climbed up the snowy mountain slopes, but at some point it got too steep. It looked like my only option was to swim up a small waterfall. Oh man, this is freezing! I soon made it to the top, but there were more trolls here. It was time to put that flint and steel to good use. I made several fires, which scared them off. Then I found an ice cave, but it was guarded by more trolls. No worries, I got this. I set part of the cave on fire, and the trolls fled. At the back of the cave, on a stone pedestal, I found a frosted sword with sharpness 3. It was made of enchanted ice that was 10 times as strong as normal. I started to think about the way I had left things with the shopkeeper and his dog, and realized that I had been a little rude. I mean, just because Distorted Alex doesn't usually help people in need doesn't mean I should ever do it. Sometimes you gotta be the hero, even if it goes against what you had planned. That's just the right thing to do. Besides, I already promised I would help save the other villagers from the redstone mine, and a promise is a promise. I began to make my way back down the mountain when I saw a llama struggling near the edge of the cliff.
Help me, please! I'm gonna fall!
I ran over and offered the llama a hand. No way am I going to let an innocent creature get hurt. It was almost too late, and she started to fall, but I warped again and caught the llama in midair, then I warped back onto solid ground. Whoa, I had never warped that many times in a row before. Then I noticed that my powers of warping and distorting myself were causing me to grow. I was bigger now, and I also had 10 hearts. I'm getting scarier every day. I can't wait to see what I look like at even higher levels.
Thank you for saving me, new friend. My name is Becca.
What were you doing out here, Becca?
I heard that the villagers in this area were being oppressed by an evil brute named Crushmore, so I'm searching for a powerful golem that might be able to defeat him.
Why would a llama be so concerned about human villagers?
Hey, just because we're different doesn't mean I have to stay out of it. I want to help everyone.
Hard to argue with that logic. Now that I had thought about it, I realized my reason for why I've been helping out is kind of the same as her. I guess Becca isn't too different from me. Well, other than me being a creepypasta and her being a talking llama, but otherwise, we're basically the same.
Legend has it that the golem is hidden somewhere near these mountains, waiting for a hero with pure intentions to awaken it.
I don't know if I'm that hero yet, but this golem does sound really promising. On days 20 to 22, I returned to the village to find that 3 illagers had been trying to break into the shopkeeper's house. It's a good thing I built that door. They all had crossbows, but fortunately my warp ability could take me right into close range. After that, I made short work of them with my ice-frosted sword. I think I'll build a giant statue right in the middle of the village, but for that, I need to get some sheep. That way, the villagers will have something cool to look at once they're all rescued. I also added a base extension to the shopkeeper's house. I needed to give the villagers a reason to stay in the village long enough so that I can really give them all a good scare later on. I started gathering materials, breaking through a wall in the basement mine to find a huge cavern full of dazzling emeralds. Wow, these will look great on the statue, and I bet there's a lot of other great materials in here too. Next, I got some more iron to make some shears for the wool. What kind of statue do you think I'm building? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my awesome adventures, or just search for Zozo. Spell it with me, Z-O-Z-O. On days 23 to 26, I defended the base from more of the illagers sent by Crushmore. Boy, you guys are persistent. My warping power was so much stronger now that I could warp any weak mob I touched high up into the air and watch them fall to their defeat. I dropped them all, and one of them dropped a bow and some fire arrows, along with 2 diamonds. As if I wasn't enough of a menace to trolls already. I tried using the bow, but it didn't work. But that's what I can use the diamonds for. I need to get flame on my bow first, so I'll need to enchant it. I went to the ocean and mined some lapis lazuli stones for the enchantment process. All that was left was to gather the materials for fire enchanting. I also met a new friend while I was out near the ocean. How you doing? I'm Tuttle, the turtle. I told the turtle I needed to make an enchantment table, and the turtle gave me 4 obsidian for it. You're such a cool dude. Why don't you come with me and live at my base? I returned to the base and enchanted the bow with a flaming enchanted book. Then I named the bow Firestarter. Now I can use those arrows with the fire enchantment. Hopefully I don't run out, otherwise I'll need to craft more and get some fire charges. I created a pond back at the base so that Tuttle could live there. Turtles love the water after all.
We also love powerful defenses, Zozo. Make sure your base has got walls on every side and locks on the gates.
Thanks, Tuttle, but I'm the one who is supposed to do the narration. On days 27 to 31, I decided that I wanted to explore near the ice cave again. I was out gathering materials in the mountains when I ran into Becca. Hi, Becca.
Hi, Zozo. I think I found the entrance to a dungeon where the legendary golem can be found. It'll be treacherous, but we should definitely go there.
I followed Becca across a slippery mountain path until we came to a giant stone bridge over a valley. On the other side of the bridge was a huge silver door. Now I've heard of knowing how to make an entrance, but this is ridiculous. What was even more ridiculous was that it was guarded by a rock. Becca was too afraid to get close to that thing, so I bravely approached the rock instead. Hey, wait a minute. How come I'm the one who has to make my friends less afraid all of a sudden? This totally wasn't what I signed up for. Oh well, maybe I can settle for scaring this bird away. Though, I still don't want to be that rude about it. Maybe I'll just ask nicely? Can we go through that door, please?
Absolutely not. I've been ordered to guard this door by Crushmore himself.
The rock swooped down on me, but I was able to warp out of the way and turn invisible.
Where are you hiding?
Right here. After some fast moves and quick thinking, I managed to win the fight.
No fair. I'll remember this.
Becca and I then did everything we could to open the silver door, but nothing seemed to do the trick. We tried using a lever, torches, setting it on fire, and shooting flaming arrows. Nothing worked. We'd have to figure something else out later. On days 32 to 35, Becca and I found a small cabin nearby where we could stay, and it turned out that a few villagers who had escaped from Crushmore were living here now.
That bird must have been here to make sure nobody could go into the dungeon.
And we still don't have a way to open the door. Just then, the walls of the cabin came crashing down. Or should I say, crushing down? No? Crushmore was here, and he seemed mad.
Get back to the mines and find me more redstone.
The villagers were scared, so I decided that I'd lure Crushmore away. Hey you, follow me! I ran as far and as fast as I could across the mountain, keeping ahead of Crushmore as best as I could. Then I saw it, a blizzard. That's the perfect place to lose him. I turned invisible and vanished into the snow, making my way back to the escaped villagers. Chill out, everyone. No pun intended. Come back to my base, and you can have your old homes back. On days 36 to 39, I made sure that all the villagers that had returned with me got bigger houses with crafting tables and anvils. Now there would be enough weapons and armor for all of them. Now if the villagers came back for them, they wouldn't go without a fight. I showed the villagers their houses, and they moved in. They seemed really grateful. I asked Tuttle if he knew anything about how we could open the silver door in the mountains.
Oh, so just because I'm a turtle, that means I know everything? Well, I do know this. That silver door is only going to open for a silver key, and the only place you can find one is in the Sea King's palace.
That's actually really helpful. Thanks, Tuttle.
Don't mention it, Zozo.
I decided to do some more work on the statue before I left the base again. What do you think of it so far? On days 40 to 43, one of the villagers noticed that I was using a bow with fire enchantments and told me of a chest deep in the woods where an enchanted book of fire aspect had been placed. The chest was guarded by a fearsome fire salamander that would burn anyone who approached, but I had to take the risk. My fire arrows were some of the best weapons I had, and I wanted to improve them even more. As I wandered through the woods, I found the salamander. I was worried if I used my frosted sword it would melt, so I switched back to my trusty old iron sword. I circled around it, using my warp abilities to jump away from its blasts of fire. It was a rough fight. I had to drink a health potion and warp away to safety many times. I also shot some arrows, but they didn't seem very effective. I warped and slashed until finally the salamander was defeated. I decided I'd upgrade my iron sword to a steel one and give it the new and improved fire enchantment. Behold, my flaming steel sword! On days 44 to 49, I crafted a wooden boat and set off for an ocean voyage. Tuttle had mentioned that the Sea King's palace would have the silver key I would need to open the silver door, so I kept a close eye on the horizon in search of the palace. A giant squid attacked me out of nowhere, but fortunately, I was able to snipe it from a distance with my fire arrows. Fried calamari, anyone? Then I heard a voice among the waves.
I can't swim! Save me!
I went towards the voice and found a man with a crown who was thrashing in the water. I pulled him onto the boat so that he wouldn't be in trouble anymore.
Thank you. I will reward you greatly for saving my life. I am Sea King after all.
How come you're the Sea King, but you can't swim?
That's not important. What is important is that a giant bird has taken over my palace and threw me into the ocean.
A giant bird? Could it be? On days 50 to 53, I sailed onward until I found the Sea King's palace. Or I guess right now it's the giant bird's palace. I left the boat at the dock and made my way inside the beautiful lapis lazuli palace. The Sea King chose to remain at the shore for his own safety. I went into the throne room and saw the bird perched on the throne. You're the bird who is guarding the door.
And you're that invisible snake who thought he defeated me. This time, I will show you no mercy.
I'm not just any sneak, I'm Distorted Alex. Bring it on, bird brain. I drew my fire sword and warped into battle. The rock was still as tough as ever, but it wasn't prepared to face my new enchantments. After I defeated the bird, I took a look around the palace and soon found the silver key. It was being guarded by 2 warriors in lapis lazuli armor. Hi, I'm Zozo. I just defeated the evil bird. Can I have your silver key? The warrior shrugged. I guess it's okay then. I left the palace only to find that the Sea King was gone, along with my boat. On days 54 to 57, I made my way home on foot. On the way, I took out some chickens and grabbed the feathers to craft some arrows. And luckily, I found a bunch of iron as well. I mined it right up. I returned to my base at the village and used some of the feathers and fire charges to make some flaming arrows. I also crafted an enchanted suit of steel armor. Now I had defenses for days.
Looking cool, Zozo.
Thanks, Tuttle.
Hey, Zozo! I'm planning on opening my shop back up, but I need a few more rare goods from the forest before I can do that.
No problem, shopkeeper. I'll go get some rare materials for you in the surrounding area.
You're the best! I'll be especially happy if you can find me the ingredients for shrimp fried rice.
I first went into the forest to see if I could find some materials there, and I stumbled upon a pixie hovel. There were a ton of pixies, and they were a feisty little bunch. They flew at me and gave me some debuffs like bad luck and slowness, but what really annoyed me was that they were laughing at me. Rude. Then they started stealing my items. That's it. Enough is enough. I grabbed 2 empty jars that were lying on the ground and caught a couple of pixies in them. Ha! Who's laughing now? I then grabbed all the pixie dust laying around and decided I might as well take their homes. I continued on and spotted a loose Nagafang just laying on the ground. Oh, this could come in handy too. On the way to the ocean, I also grabbed some wild rice growing by the water. It was a good thing that all my time exploring the ocean let me know where to find some shrimp, so I gathered those too. I returned to the shopkeeper and gave him some of the wild rice and shrimp. He looked happier than I've ever seen him before. He took all of the ingredients and started to cook up the shrimp fried rice right in front of me. It looked like it turned out great. It must have tasted really good too, since the shopkeeper was so happy that he went inside his shop and came out with a diamond pickaxe. Is this for me? Thanks! On days 58 to 62, I was making solid progress on the base's statue when I heard the villagers start to panic. The walls of the base were being destroyed by a group of giant octopuses. It seems strange since aquatic mobs like that usually don't show up this far inland. They must have some kind of magic protecting them. Who could be behind this? I fought off the giant squids only to see the Sea King standing outside the base, holding an enchanted silver spear. Sea King, are you here to help?
No, Zozo. You stole my silver key, so I'm going to destroy you and your base.
You don't understand. I need the silver key to open the dungeon door. I'll give it back after, I promise.
Save your promises. This is war. You may have defeated those squids, but I'll be back with more and we'll end you.
He ran away, and I didn't want to run after him. Even if I'm doing the right thing, I'm still an outcast, and now I was at war with one of the people I wanted to help. This was messed up. Unfortunately, while I was talking with the king, some other octopuses that I must have missed set fire to the village, damaging it. Ah, come on, guys. On days 63 to 66, I sailed back to the Sea King's palace in the hopes that I could speak with him and get him to agree to a truce. I didn't want any more sea creatures showing up and damaging things. I walked into the throne room, passing a bunch of scary guards. I didn't have any of my weapons equipped to show that I didn't mean him any harm. The Sea King was sitting on his throne, waiting for me.
Have you come to beg for my forgiveness?
Yes and no. I don't want to have a war, but I'm also asking to let me use the silver key just once. If we don't get to the golem, we'll never be able to defeat Crushmore and save the rest of the villagers.
Don't you see that it's pointless? I tried the key on that door long ago, and it never opened for me.
You did?
The legend says that a hero must find the golem. If I'm not worthy, nobody is.
What if I'm worthy?
Enough talk. Let's settle this one-on-one.
The Sea King attacked me with a spear. I had no choice but to fight back and battle the Sea King. As we fought, the guards started jumping in excitement. They must love watching a good fight. It happened so fast, but in the end, he was defeated. I guess there wouldn't be a war, but this wasn't how I wanted it to end. On days 67 to 70, I journeyed back to the Silver Door with the silver key in my inventory. I figured it was now or never if I was going to prove my worthiness and enter the dungeon. As I walked across the bridge, I heard a terrifying roar from underneath the bridge. It was a Remobra. The wyvern flew down in front of me and blocked my path.
I am Poison Wing. You will never survive my poison.
He wanted to prove that to me straight away and spat a glob of poison at me. It was too fast for me to warp out of the way. My speed was slowed and my health started to drop. I fired arrows at Poison Wing, but he kept flying around the bridge and avoiding them. At this rate, it seemed like he was just biding his time so the poison would get me. If I tried warping into melee range, I'd just end up falling and having to warp back to the bridge. Time was running out. The poison almost had me.
Zozo, quick, drink this.
It was Becca, and she had brought antidotes to help me overcome the poison.
Meddling llama.
Poison Wing bellowed, and because he was enraged, he swooped in to attack us. I stepped in front of Becca and slashed at him with my fire sword. Poison Wing was trying to get to my friend, but I would never let him through. After taking several hits, Poison Wing flew off. He was wounded, but not fatally.
Poison Wing will be back, and will bring others with him. Quickly, Zozo, we have to get inside that door.
We ran over to the door and placed the key in the lock. To my surprise, it worked, and we were able to enter the dungeon. On days 71 to 74, we traveled through the depths of the dungeon. We encountered a horde of trolls, but thanks to my enchantments, they weren't much of a threat. Take that, and this! Then we came to the place where the golem was supposed to have rested. But there was nothing there.
I don't understand. Why isn't there a golem?
I don't know, but Poisonwing will be back soon. We have to leave. On day 75 to 78, I repaired the parts of the base and the village that had been damaged in the war with the Sea King. I made sure everyone's home was 5 stories tall and had wooden bridges on the roof so the villagers could visit each other. Tuttle then came over and gave me some new, stronger materials that only the oldest turtles knew about, and I was able to create my ultimate suit of armor. Then she gave me a potion. I guess they are friends with Becca, and the turtle figured I might need another potion. Just in time, too, because Poisonwing flew into the base from up above.
Crushmore has grown tired of waiting, Zozo. Give back those villagers, or I will poison them all.
He shot his poison at me, but this time, I was ready. I immediately drank one of Becca's antidotes and was ready to take the fight to the Remobra himself. I warped above him, but that was a fake out. When Poisonwing dodged, I warped again, right into his path. I hit him with a powerful attack and finished him off. Wow, I've got 16 hearts, and it looks like I can warp really far now. Now that I've beaten Poisonwing, maybe I can go back to the mountain dungeon and see if I missed anything. On day 79 to 84, I searched behind the silver door again and couldn't find anything in the entire dungeon that could tell me where the golem went. So much for that. I was about to leave when I ran into a man who looked a lot like the Sea King, but older. He seemed sad, but at least it didn't look like he wanted to fight. I asked him who he was, and he told me he was the Sea King's father. Oh, I'm sorry about what happened to your son. I took off my helmet so we could talk face to face. He told me he had made this mountain dungeon when his son was little in order to test whether or not he could be a hero worthy of the legendary golem. Well, the Sea King had never been able to open the door. I had, which meant I was the worthy hero that the Sea King's father was hoping for. He revealed that there was no legendary golem, but he did give me the formula I could use to build it. I thanked him, and we waved goodbye to each other. On days 85 to 89, I told Becca about what had happened to me at the Silver Dungeon and how I met the Sea King's father.
Of course! Opening that door meant that you were worthy. That makes so much sense. Still, do you think you have what it takes to build the legendary golem?
I have to try, don't I?
I suppose that's true. I'll give you all the information I know about what the legendary golem is supposed to be like. That way, you can't get it wrong.
Thanks, Becca. On days 90 to 94, I scoured the land for all the materials that I would need to craft the legendary golem. Cobblestone walls, stairs, and blocks were easy. I already had those. But Quicksilver? I went deep in the mountains to find those and finally found a cave with some. Next, I needed to find some lapis lazuli ore, but for that, I'd need Silk Touch. I started asking around if any villagers knew where to get Silk Touch, and luckily found one who did. He threw a Silk Touch book at me, and I used it to enchant my pickaxe so I could mine entire ores of lapis. I then went back to the Sea Palace and snatched it from there. So far, there hadn't been anything too tough, but the block of ice dragon steel was going to be an issue. I went to Tuttle to ask him if he had any more left over, but he said no. Bummer. I asked him if there was any way he could find some more, and he said yes. Not a bummer, but it might take some time. Medium bummer. I was willing to wait though, since this could be the strongest golem ever made. Of course, I didn't want to neglect my own upgrades. With the help of the villagers, I was able to acquire some more enchanted books and give my frosted sword the powerful Freezing 3 enchantment. They told me that in order to use it, I would need to throw it and the frosted sword on top of the anvil, and the magic inside of the enchanted book would transform the sword into a better one. Well, here goes nothing. It worked. The sword leveled up to an iced dragonbone sword with sharpness 10. It even had the ability to completely freeze enemies. And best of all, it looked awesome! Now I had fire and ice on my side. On days 95 to 97, I took some time off from building the golem in order to finish the statue for the base. It was a statue of regular Alex because I wanted to show the villagers that even though I was distorted and an outcast, I was just the same as any other hero. I could feel that the villagers had already accepted me, but I hoped it was still a gesture that meant something to them. But what do you think of the statue? Do you like it? To end the day, I started building the golem. I was so close to being finished. All I was missing now was the block of ice dragon steel. On day 98, the shopkeeper's dog approached me and looked like he wanted to talk.
Hey Zozo, you always say you were an outcast. How come you helped me when we first met?
I guess I just needed a place to belong, and you seemed like you did too.
Well, you've made a really nice place here. I can't wait for the other villagers to come back.
Same. The golem is almost complete, and Crushmore will never know what hit him.
I think it'll hit him, just like all of our friends should hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell.
That's true. It sure does feel great that I can share more of my videos with all of my friends out there. Thanks for your support. On day 99, the turtle woke me up and gave me the block of ice dragon steel. Now I can finish the statue. The legendary golem that I built was finally complete. Even Becca was impressed. It was just like the legend. With the golem by my side, I marched over to Crushmore's redstone mines. We encountered several villagers, but the golem was able to keep them busy while I warped into the mines and freed the rest of the villagers. The most powerful of the villagers, an evoker, tried to stop me. He kept spawning Vex around me and using his Fang spell attack, but luckily, my superior armor protected me and I struck him down with my fire and ice weapons. The villagers were able to escape the redstone mine and run back to the base. That just left one more thing to take care of. Or should I say, Crushmore thing. On day 100, the golem and I started to destroy the redstone mines, and I focused on breaking up the rail tracks and supporting pillars. With all the villagers now home safe, I noticed that some of the redstone piles looked weird. They were shimmering green. I shot a fire arrow at them, and it ignited the redstone and blew the whole place up. That's firepower, baby! But the explosion was so huge that I was almost caught inside. I tried to warp away, and the most amazing thing happened. My warp ability absorbed the explosion and converted it into pure power. As I left the destroyed mine, I saw Crushmore battling the legendary golem.
You thought this hunk of junk could defeat Crushmore? I am more powerful than you could ever imagine.
Using the power of the explosions that my distorted warp had consumed, I grew in size until I was the same as him with 100 hearts. That's when the giant got even bigger and meaner. I didn't even know that was possible. He smashed the golem with a single blow and started coming after me.
Even legends are no match for Crushmore. Now, you will pay for ruining my plans for this world.
I don't think so, Crushmore. Anything you can destroy, I can build back. I am more than a legend. I'm a hero. We battled, but I was faster, and with my ability to shoot fire out of my flaming warp, Crushmore was toast. Literally. But the fight wasn't over yet. We kept battling. I used my warp, which was crazy long now, but Crushmore also had some serious strength and a huge jump height. Even if I tried to warp away to regenerate some health, he was right there with me. With the combination of Ice Sword, Fire Sword, Flaming Arrows, and the Flaming Warp did the trick. After that amazing battle, I fixed up the golem and he came back to life again. We returned to the village where Tuttle, Becca, the shopkeeper, his dog, and all the villagers were waiting for me. Even the Sea King's dad was there. He was happy to see that I was the hero the world needed. This calls for a fireworks display. I may still be able to turn invisible, but now there was no reason for me to hide anymore. On day 1, I spawned in as a police officer. Well, I was actually just a rookie, and I was pretty small too. It's okay, I'll move up in no time. But where are all my other cop friends? Hello, is my partner around here? I was all alone, so I checked out my gear and realized I already had some handcuffs. Cool! Just then, I noticed some bandits nearby. They were around a cage full of citizens. I approached them, but before I knew it, they were attacking me. Hey, that's no way to treat an officer. What is going on here? Why is there so much crime? It's like the criminals are in control. I wanted to help the citizens, but I only had 5 hearts, and they were running low, fast. I hurried and ran away. I didn't feel good doing it, but I really needed to heal up before I could help anybody else. I found a small cave and made camp for the night. As I went to sleep, I wondered again where all the other cops were, and why it seemed like all the criminals had taken over. On day 2, I woke up and got right down to business. If there were no other cops, then I'd have to take care of things myself. I chopped down some trees and gathered some wood to make a crafting table. With that, I was able to make a wooden sword, pickaxe, shovel, and some other simple tools. These aren't the best, but they will do for now. I went out exploring and found a small village. I looked around, but everyone seemed to be gone. I wonder where everyone went. Just then, I heard some noise from behind a fence. It was a teenage girl. Hey, it's okay, I can help. She looked a little frightened, but she eventually came out of her hiding place. What happened?
There were some bandits that attacked our village. They took everyone captive, including my family.
I think I saw them earlier. I'm so sorry. I'll do what I can to get your family back. She seemed happy to hear that.
I'm Izzy.
I'm Zozo. Hey, we should find a safe place to go. If I build us a safe house, would you want to stay there? She happily agreed. Before we left, we went through the houses to gather some supplies. I found some leather, coal, and some food. I also harvested what was left of the crops so we could make ourselves a garden. On day 3, Izzy and I started off into the forest. I found a section of land we liked and decided to build a base there. We started building and made ourselves some simple houses. Then I started a little garden with the seeds I had collected.
Thanks, Zozo. You're a good cop.
It is my job to serve and protect. Just then, a bunch of rats came out from behind some trees. Oh, gross, get away! I was sure glad I had my new sword, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to defeat them. After I took out the last rat, I felt a surge of power and I leveled up. Cool, I'm an actual officer now. I had a shiny new baton and everything. I even gained a few more hearts. On days 4 to 5, I went out to gather some more materials. I was able to mine some cobblestone to make some new tools. On my way back to the base, I saw some bandits nearby. They looked like the ones I had seen earlier, but they didn't have a cage this time. There were only a few of them, so I knew I could take them out. I charged at them and attacked with my baton. I managed to get some hits in, but I finally defeated them all. Nice! I noticed that one had dropped something, so I picked it up. It was a note that told the bandits where to go to capture more people. It was signed by someone named Jenkins. That must be who they are working for. I'll have to find out some more information about him later. I returned to the base and greeted Izzy. She seemed really happy to be in a safe place. Hopefully we could help others find refuge here too. On day 6 to 8, I crafted some new stuff from the supplies I had gathered. I made a furnace and then made a tunic and some boots, using the leather I had looted from the village. Yeah, I'm ready to take on anything now. Just then, I heard Izzy screaming outside. I rushed out and followed her voice. I found her by the waterside being attacked by some spiders. Get back, you nasties! With my baton, I was easily able to defeat all of them.
Thanks, Zozo.
No problem, just be careful in the future.
Will do. Hey, I have something for you.
Izzy threw me some flowers she had picked.
I picked these for you. I thought they could brighten up the base a little bit.
For sure. We went back to the base, and I went right ahead and planted some of the flowers. Izzy was right, it did give a little life to the place. Just don't go wandering off again. I can't protect you if you're too far away. She nodded. Here, I'll make you a sword, just in case. I went over to my crafting table and made Izzy a simple sword and some other tools.
Thanks, these are great.
She went outside to pick some flowers, this time closer to the base. She's a funny one. I just hope she doesn't get into trouble again. On days 9 to 10, I decided to go out and search for some new materials. And I wanted more information about Jenkins. I'm sure somebody knew something. I found another village that seemed abandoned. I started to gather up some crops when I heard a scream. I ran around the corner to see some bandits capturing people. I also noted one huge buff guy in a suit. That seems strange. I charged toward the bandits and took out a few. Then the man in the suit laughed. I charged at him, but he sidestepped me. He drew a large sword that seemed to glow red. He smacked me once and nearly took me out. I had to hide so he wouldn't destroy me. The bandits and the man left, taking the villagers with them. I felt so angry that I couldn't do anything. Then I noticed one of the bandits on the ground. I had hit him, but he was still alive. He was trying to crawl away. Hey, I hurried and handcuffed him. He struggled, but he was frozen in place. Where are you taking the people you're capturing? The bandit threw a potato at me. I was about to make my final swing with my baton when he started screaming.
Okay, I'll talk.
That's what I like to hear.
We work for Jenkins, the mob boss. We were taking the prisoners back to his compound.
Why is he capturing people?
He captures basically everyone he doesn't like. Only the lucky ones get to be his bandits.
Sure, lucky.
I was captured a long time ago, but Jenkins liked me, so now I work for him.
Why didn't you help people instead of capturing them?
Jenkins is too powerful. Anyone who tries to fight him is always beaten.
I could see why. That sword he had was different somehow. Really powerful too. But he couldn't keep taking people away. It wasn't right. I'm going to defeat him. The bandits seemed intrigued.
You really think you can take him on?
I wasn't entirely sure, but I knew somebody had to try. It's the right thing to do. The bandits seemed even more intrigued.
Can I join you?
I was a little suspicious of him, but I decided to let him come with me. If anything, he could give me some valuable information.
I'm Lionel.
I'm Officer Zozo. Nice to meet you. On days 11 through 12, I took Lionel's cuffs off and we headed back to the base. We started to work on a small house for him. He seemed really happy.
I haven't had my own house in so long. Jenkins just keeps us all in small bunks together. Thanks, Zozo.
Of course. Lionel actually seemed like a good guy. Maybe we would be friends after all. I introduced him to Izzy, and she seemed a little suspicious of him too. After a while though, she warmed up to him, especially after he offered to help her pick flowers. I decided the base was in good hands, so I went back to the cave to gather some more materials. As I went deeper, I noticed some skeletons were guarding a big deposit of iron. I could really use that. I charged toward the iron, but the skeletons had bows and arrows. Whoa, I didn't notice that. They all shot at me and depleted almost all of my health. I can't do this, I'm gonna die. I ran off and tried to heal for a minute. Oh, that was intense. I need some better weapons, but that iron is what I need to make a better sword. I went down a different tunnel and found a different iron deposit. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to craft a new sword. Perfect. I creeped back down the tunnel and charged the skeletons again. It was tricky, but I was finally able to defeat them all. They even dropped some nice bows, which I promptly looted. Thank goodness. I mined all the iron and took it back home with me. I was able to make some more tools and even some armor. Yeah, this is amazing. I then called it a day. On days 13 to 15, I woke up to Lionel knocking on my door. Hey Lionel, what's up?
Zozo, I need to tell you something about Jenkins.
We sat down.
I really want to be optimistic, but Jenkins is really powerful.
I know, Lionel, but I am getting stronger.
But you don't understand, Zozo. Jenkins isn't just a normal guy. He once was, but when he was younger, he was hungry for power. His father was the mob boss, but Jenkins wanted to be in charge. He made a blood oath to some supernatural force, and it gave him his red blinking sword. He destroyed his father as a sacrifice. Jenkins gained power over the people, but the sword gained power over him. It's basically alive and it feeds on people. That's why Jenkins keeps capturing people, to feed the sword and keep his power.
This was a lot to take in. I thought it was just a blinking sword. This was something I wasn't sure I could handle.
I wanted to tell you so you know what you're going up against.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Lionel left and I sat there for a while. I was way in over my head. On days 16 to 19, I woke up to Lionel yelling my name. I opened the door. What is it, Lionel?
It's Izzy. She's missing. But here, there's a note and a map.
I took the note and read it. Izzy had gone outside and been captured by some villagers. They told me that if I wanted her back, I would need to pay them in gold. They even drew us a little map to where we needed to go.
We don't have any gold.
It doesn't matter. We need to go get her. Come on, let's go. We headed out in the direction the map said and reached a desert. Soon, we made it to a small village. It looked like it was in ruins. Hello, we are here to get our friend back. We turned the corner and saw Izzy. She was in a cage and surrounded by a few villagers. One villager with a wooden crown and sword came forward.
Give us the gold and we won't hurt you.
We don't have any gold. Give us our friend.
No, if you don't give me my gold, then I'll take it from you.
The villager lunged and attacked me. He was a good fighter, but I was better. After just a minute, I managed to defeat him. I felt another surge of power, and I leveled up into a sergeant. Nice! Izzy ran towards us and cried happily.
Thanks for saving me. I won't wander outside at night ever again.
A young man stepped forward. Are you really going to save us from Jenkins? That's what Izzy told us. He has a powerful sword that I'm not sure I can go up against. I know it could help. It's a legendary sword, dropped by a knight in a battle long ago. It's been lost somewhere in the desert. That sparked a little hope in me. Maybe I could defeat Jenkins after all. Do you want to come live in our base? It'll be safer there. A few villagers wanted to stay in their homes, but the young man agreed. I'm Nick. Nice to meet you, Nick. I'm Sergeant Zozo. We gathered some supplies and then took off towards the base. On days 20 to 22, we arrived back at the base, but it was on fire. There were some zombies on fire too. What the heck? We hurried and defeated them and then put the fire out in the base. It looks like we have some work to do. Nick and Lionel helped me while Izzy went back in her house to rest. She had had a long day getting kidnapped and all. She deserved to sleep. We made some new improvements to the base, including a better fence, and started building a house for Nick. I was happy to have him around and looked forward to learning more about the sword he was talking about.
Hey Zozo, we should build a statue to let people know this is a safe place from Jenkins, and that you're gonna kick his bum.
That's a good idea, Lionel. We chatted about the statue with Nick and decided on something simple. Can you guess what it is? Also, hurry and hit subscribe so you can follow me on more adventures. On days 23 to 26, I was gathering some crops from our garden when a bunch of bees started attacking the base. Where did you come from? Everyone got their weapons and we managed to fight them off. As I hit the last one, it dropped something. I picked it up and it was some golden apples. Wow, these look amazing. I should probably save them for later though. I went up to chat with Lionel. Hey, I think it would be really helpful if we scouted Jenkins' base, just to see what we were up against.
I think that's a great idea. We just need to be careful. There are guards literally everywhere.
Nick and Izzy decided to stay behind and work on the statue while we headed out to the compound. It was a little bit of a journey, but when we arrived, I could see what Lionel meant. It was huge, and there were guards all over the place. Wow, you weren't kidding.
I know that there is a guard entrance in the back, but only the higher-ranking guards or bandits can open it. And Jenkins, of course.
Just then, we saw a bandit running towards us. We started to run away and thought we had lost him, when suddenly he popped out from behind a tree.
Lionel, brother, I knew that was you.
Luke?
I heard you were dead, but when I saw you from the tower, I knew I had to come and get you.
Luke drew his sword and went to attack me.
No, don't! This is my friend Zozo. He's going to help us defeat Jenkins.
Luke snorted.
Yeah, right.
He will. He's going to find the legendary sword of the night and defeat him.
Luke seemed skeptical. I know it might seem impossible, but I can do it. I'll free everyone, and you won't have to be a slave anymore. Luke looked convinced enough.
Okay, I'm in. I don't like the food there anyway.
Luke chatted with us about what had happened recently with Jenkins. He had been raiding more and more villages lately, hungry for power. We then made our way back to the base. Once we got back to the base, we cleared out an area and made a house for Luke as well. Even though him and Lionel were brothers, they wanted their own places. I didn't blame them. We also made some improvements to the base, including some towers and a higher fence.
Wow, this is actually pretty rad, Sarge.
Luke saluted me incorrectly. He was an odd one, but I was glad to be helping people get away from Jenkins. On days 27 to 31, I went to talk to Nick about the legendary sword. He was picking some flowers. Are those for Izzy? He seemed to blush a little bit.
Maybe.
Her favorite are the blue ones.
Hey, thanks.
He picked up some blue flowers while we chatted. So, the sword.
Yeah, so all I know is that it's buried somewhere deep in the desert. It's super powerful.
It sounded like a very interesting weapon. Jenkins needed to be stopped, and this seemed like the only way to do it. Let's go find that sword.
All right.
We stopped at the base so that Nick could give his flowers to Izzy. She seemed really happy about them and wished us good luck. We gathered some supplies and then headed out into the desert. It was so big and I had no idea where to start. Any idea where it could be?
Just somewhere in the desert.
We started digging around, looking for some significant formations. It was honestly just a lot of sand. Then out of nowhere, a bunch of snakes came slithering up to us. Nope, none of that. I drew my sword and started fighting them off, but there were too many, and they started biting me. We need to go, Nick. We ran away and made our way back to the base. We felt discouraged, but I would find the sword. I just knew it. On days 32 to 35, we traveled back to the base. On the way there, we ran into a traveling merchant.
Hello, lots of items for sale. Anything you could want, really. Name your price.
We aren't in need of items, but maybe you have some information. What do you know about the legendary sword that was lost in the desert? The merchant rifled through some items, looking for paper.
Yes, here it is. I once encountered a man who said it was buried in the furthest reaches of the desert, never to be found again.
Never?
Never!
He raised his arms dramatically and waved them around. I looked at Nick. This guy was a little bit wacky. Probably not the best source for information. Well, thanks. We'll be going now.
Not on my watch.
I turned around to see Jenkins with some of his guards. The merchant screamed and hid behind his camel.
I've met you before. You're that annoying little rookie I swatted back in the village.
It's Sergeant Zozo to you. I drew my baton and attacked his guards. I easily took a few of them out, but then I saw Jenkins use his blinking red sword. I was in trouble now. He smacked me and I felt my health start to drop. I still wasn't even close to being strong enough to defeat him. Just then, I looked in the merchant's shulker and saw some TNT. Yes. Take this, Jenkins! I placed the TNT and blew up the sand around us. Come on, Nick, we gotta go!
Wait for me!
The merchant sprinted behind us, cradling an armful of items. We all ran off towards the base, leaving Jenkins in a sandy mess. On days 36 to 39, we all arrived at the base safely. The merchant looked exhausted.
Thank you for saving me. Jenkins would have had my head for sure.
Of course, we are glad to have found another friend with us.
I'm Caleb. Please, let me repay you for your kindness.
The merchant handed me a rock he was holding. Thanks.
It's my favorite rock. Take good care of it.
I pocketed the rock, thinking how odd this man was. But then we decided to help Caleb set up a little shop in the base so he could continue to sell his wares, whatever they may be.
I lost most of my items in the commotion, but this will do for now.
Anything else you need?
Actually, if you could gather some sand for me, I could make some glass bottles to store more items.
I decided it wasn't too much of a hassle, so I went to the desert and gathered some sand for Caleb. When I came back, he was very grateful.
Ah, yes, perfect. This will definitely help.
I then decided to do some work on the statue for a little while. It was looking pretty good, but it wasn't done quite yet. On days 40 to 43, I went out to mine some more materials to make some upgrades to the base. On my way there, I passed by a small group of travelers. They looked like farmers of some sort, but they must have thought I was working with Jenkins because they yelled and tried to run away when they saw me. Wait, I won't hurt you. I'm a police officer. They stopped running and approached me.
Oh, a young hero. Maybe you can help us.
Sure, what is it?
All of our animals were stolen by some hooligans in the forest. If you could go get them back for us, we'd be so grateful.
It seemed like an easy enough task. Sure, do you know where they are?
Yes, they live in an outpost next to the foot of the mountains. We don't dare get close because they have better weapons than us.
I'll help you. In the meantime, you can stay at my base. I pointed them in the right direction, and they headed that way. I went towards the mountain they mentioned. And before long, I saw the outpost. There were a bunch of animals all shoved into a pen nearby.
Looky here, boys. We've got a live one.
I drew my sword and charged the pillagers. There weren't many of them, and their weapons were very simple. I picked off a few of them easily, but their leader seemed a little more skilled. We exchanged a few more blows, but after a minute, I defeated him. Alright guys, let's get you back to your owners. I grabbed some leads from the house and wrangled up the animals. We were able to make it back to the base safely. When we got there, the farmers were overjoyed.
Thank you, Zozo. Please feel free to use as much wool and milk as you'd like.
Thanks. It'd be really good to have some more food sources, and the farmer seemed more than happy to stay with us. On days 44 to 49, I journeyed back to the desert where I'd gathered the sand for Caleb. I figured there could be some other useful materials nearby. When I got there, I noticed there was a sea turtle being attacked by a squid. Hey, you let him go! I jumped in and smacked the squid. He tried to maneuver back deeper into the water, but I was too fast. Before I knew it, the squid was defeated. Thank you, sir. You are my hero. The sea turtle nodded in appreciation. Of course, I am here to serve and protect everyone.
That's so good to hear. It's been so long since we've had a hero in this land. I remember when that knight
promised to protect everyone, but he went bad. This was new information. Bad how? Do you not know the story? Can't say that I do. The knight was named Polybius. He protected the king and his daughter, but he realized there were too many enemies, and he was only one man. So he prayed to a deity, begging for their help to protect his friends. They granted him the sword, and he named it Brink. Brink? Because everything was on the brink of destruction. Okay, continue. So he was gifted Brink and was told that it would always be his if his goals remained true and right to the kingdom. Time went on, and he was able to vanquish all of the king's enemies. But after a while, Polybius became prideful and decided he wanted to show everyone how powerful he was. He challenged a man to a duel of strength, and he was defeated. The sword fell to the ground, but nobody was able to pick it up. Over time, the ground changed and it was buried within the earth. So how would someone pick it up? If your goals are true to the kingdom, or I guess now just the land, then you should be able to pick it up. This was good information to have. Even if I did find the sword, would I be worthy enough to retrieve it? Thank you. You've been a lot of help. Of course. Thank you. And with that, the turtle swam off. I gathered some more materials while I thought about what he said. I really hope I can get that sword. It's our only option at this point. On days 50 to 53, I decided to go deeper into the desert to see if I could get any clues as to where the sword might be. While out looking around, I happened upon the group of snakes again. Hey, get out of my way. I had grown stronger since the last time I saw these danger noodles, so I was able to defeat them easily. If only I could defeat Jenkins that easily.
Did you say Jenkins?
I flipped around and saw an old backpacker standing nearby. Yeah, I did.
Good for nothing, scoundrel.
The man spit into the sand.
If you want to defeat him, you better get that sword I've heard so much about.
I'm trying to, I just have no idea where to find it. The backpacker pulled out a paper with a drawing on it. It looked like a hand reaching up.
I was told that the sword is buried deep underneath this rock formation. I haven't seen it in my travels, but maybe you'll find it.
Wow, thanks, this helps a lot.
Of course, you might want this too.
He handed me a bunch of diamonds. I can't take these away from you.
Sure you can. Just promise when you defeat Jenkins, you tell everyone how much I helped you.
I will, sir.
It's good old Tim.
Tim.
No, good old Tim. The whole thing.
Oh, right. Thanks, good old Tim. He waved goodbye and headed off. What an interesting dude. On days 54 to 57, I went back to the base to make some new armor out of the diamonds I had gotten. Wow, this is incredible. I also made some new tools so that I could do some renovations to the base. I added some lanterns, expanded the garden, and made sure everything was well lit. Everything was looking great. And then decided it was too late to do anything else and went to sleep. In the morning, I heard a familiar voice coming from outside.
Zozo, I need your assistance, if you please.
Caleb was calling to me from his shop. I headed over to chat with him. Hey Caleb, what else do you need?
Those bottles were great, but now I need a few more things in order for my shop to really thrive.
Okay, what do you need?
Melons.
Melons?
Yes, melons. Now off with you.
I shrugged my shoulders. Caleb was odd, but I wanted him to be happy. It seemed like an easy enough task. I went exploring for a little bit in the forest before I happened upon some melons. Easy enough. I harvested the melons, gathered some of the seeds, and headed back to the base. I brought them back to Caleb.
Perfect.
He started mixing some stuff together in the back and then came out a few minutes later with a bottle.
Here you are, Sergeant.
I looked, and it was a potion of healing. Oh wow, thanks Caleb. This will really come in handy.
Of course. Anything for you, good sir.
He gave me a half bow with an awkward salute. It was good enough. On days 58 to 62, we worked on the statue for a little while. It was starting to look almost as I had intended. So how was your first guess? Do you think you know what it is still? I was standing on the top when I saw the base being attacked down below. Hey, those look like some of Jenkins' bandits. I hurried and ran down to fight them off. Get out of our home, you good-for-nothing scoundrels. I was starting to sound a little bit like good old Tim. I was able to fight almost all of them off. A few escaped, but I wasn't too worried about them. I was able to head back to my house when I heard Izzy yelling for me.
Zozo, come quick, it's Lionel.
I ran to Lionel's house and found him hunched over on the floor. He looked really bad. Hey buddy, let's get you some help.
No, it's too late for me, Zozo. Just go get Luke for me.
Luke? Is he in his house?
No, he's the one who stabbed me. I overheard him talking to the bandits. He was in league with them all along. Jenkins wants Brink for himself so that nobody can defeat him. Apparently, they just found out about an old lady who knows exactly where to find the sword.
I couldn't believe it. Luke seemed like an okay guy. How could anyone betray their brother like that? Don't worry, Lionel. I'll get him.
Hurry, Zozo. He already left out of the back door.
Lionel took in one last breath, and then he died. I was so angry, but I didn't have time for that right now. I needed to go after Luke and find the sword before he could. On days 63 to 66, I followed some tracks leading into a woodland area. They must have been Luke's and the other bandits that got away. I tracked them for a while before coming to a small rundown cottage. The door was broken and I heard some yelling. I ran inside, drawing my sword. The two bandits were rummaging around, stealing from an old lady. She was sitting helpless in a chair. Hey, you get out of here! I quickly picked off the bandits and gave the old lady back her things.
Thank you, young man. I owe you my life.
All I need is some information, ma'am, and apparently you have it. She nodded like she understood.
The sword is under a rock formation, shaped like a hand reaching toward the sky. It is said that is how the knight, Plebus, died.
I gave her the picture that good old Tim gave me. She looked at it.
That's the one. I saw it a long time ago when I was traveling through the far east side of the desert.
She drew me a simple map that led to its location. It seemed to point into the desert.
Here you go, young man. I fear that the other young man called Luke will find it before you do. So hurry.
Will do. Thank you. I took the map and ran as fast as I could toward the line the old lady had drawn. I hoped that Luke hadn't found it, but I did hope to find him. I had a score to settle. On days 67 to 70, I arrived at the rock formation. I noticed that more bandits were there, and I saw Luke with them. They were gathered around a cart and a tunnel someone had dug. I charged at them all. How dare you hurt my friends! I swung and slashed and managed to defeat all of them, which left Luke and I alone.
Just give up, Zozo. You've lost.
I yelled in anger and charged at Luke. Lionel was your brother. How could you have betrayed him like that?
He was garbage, just like you. I'm gonna enjoy throwing you out as well.
I charged again and he smacked me really hard. I didn't realize how close I was to the opening of the tunnel. I fell down and nearly died. Luke sneered at me from above, then took off running. Coward! I looked around and noticed that the tunnel extended further into the ground. I hoped that I would find what I was looking for down there. On day 71 to 74, I walked down the tunnel for a little while before entering a large cavern. There seemed to be something in the middle of the room. I went closer to examine it and realized they had dug out all the dirt surrounding the sword. They must have taken all of it with them. They had the sword, but obviously they couldn't wield it. Maybe I did have a chance, but I was really discouraged. If Jenkins had the sword in his compound, how was I supposed to beat him? I looked around to see if I could find anything else of value. There were a few deposits of coal, but nothing more. I climbed back up through the tunnel and into the desert. It was going to be a long and painful journey home. On day 75 to 78, I headed back to the base, my head hanging low. Nick ran toward me.
So did you get Luke? Where's the sword?
Luke escaped. They took the sword, too. I didn't really feel like talking. I honestly just felt really sad.
Zozo, I have something for you, my friend.
Caleb motioned me over. I'm not really in the mood, Caleb.
Trust me, you'll like this.
He pulled out something from underneath his counter.
Since you really liked the TNT from last time, I decided to make you some more.
He gave me a whole stash of it. It didn't really cheer me up since I already had loads from before, but I figured it could be useful later. Thanks, Caleb. I started toward my house, but then decided to go into Luke's instead. Maybe he left something of use behind. As I entered, I heard some noise. I turned around as Luke stepped into the room. How did you get in here?
Like I would tell you.
Luke unsheathed his sword and we fought again. This time, I wasn't going to let him escape. We exchanged blows, but I was way stronger than him. After just a few more hits, I was able to defeat him. That's for Lionel. Just then, I noticed that Luke had dropped some stuff. It looked like a key and a map. This key must be to the back door of the compound. All of a sudden, I felt power coursing through my veins, and I leveled up into a lieutenant. I even grew a mustache and got some cool new shades. Wow, look at me! I looked at the map. It led to a section of tundra. This must be where they were taking the sword to. Luke must have come back here to get some of his stuff before heading there. But how did he get in? I looked around and found a secret door leading down into the ground. I followed it and it opened up outside the base, hidden behind some bushes. That explains it. I went back and filled the tunnel up, making sure nobody else could get inside. On day 79 to 84, I followed the map to the tundra. It was freezing and I didn't really like it that much, but I passed some different animals, so that was cool. I finally arrived, the freezing air whipping through my hair and mustache. It's freezing. I decided to make myself a little igloo to keep myself warm. I knew Jenkins and his bandits were coming to the tundra. I just didn't know exactly where they would be. I guess the location on the map was incorrect? I went back outside to look around, but then I saw someone running toward me. I hurried to draw my sword, but the person stopped before they could reach me.
Wait, you're not Jenkins.
No, I'm not. Who are you?
I'm Meg. I've been following Jenkins and his crew for a while now. I'm trying to defeat him and save my family.
I'm trying to defeat him too. He's captured my friends and destroyed people that I love.
I'm sorry. Maybe we can work together.
Sounds good to me. How are you going to defeat him? She seemed uneasy.
Honestly, I wasn't exactly sure. I know that I'm a good fighter, but he is really powerful.
So you've been tracking him. Do you know where he is exactly? Meg shook her head.
I followed them, but there was a large snowstorm that came through. I lost my way, so I've been wandering around for a bit.
I invited her inside to get warm. I showed her the map and she got really excited.
Hey, there's an abandoned mine shaft around here.
She took out a pencil and drew a circle on the map.
I'll bet that's where they are headed.
Perfect, let's go. We gathered in all the warmth we could, and then we headed out to the mine shaft. On days 85 to 89, Meg and I went tromping through the snow to the abandoned mine shaft. It was so cold and snowy. We had been walking for a long time when we realized we were back at the igloo. What? How?
We must have gotten turned around in the snowstorm.
This was so frustrating.
You're wasting your time. Jenkins is long gone.
I flipped around and saw good old Tim. Hey, what are you doing here?
Ice fishing.
He didn't have a fishing pole though, so I was really confused. Okay, did you see Jenkins?
Yes, sir. Came around with a cart and headed down the mine shaft. He left though. Still had the cart with him, so whatever it was didn't work. Or did. I don't know.
He shrugged nonchalantly. He must have taken the sword back to his compound. It all felt like a big waste of time. Good old Tim must have noticed I looked a little down because he put his hand on my shoulder.
It's okay, Lieutenant. Here, this'll cheer you up.
He handed me some ingots, which I realized were netherite.
That'll make you a good and proper sword, Lieutenant. Now go save us.
Wow, thank you. Where do you keep finding all of these things?
My secret.
Good old Tim smiled and winked at me. I looked at Meg, who smiled at me, and when I looked back, good old Tim was gone. Whoa, where did he go? I was starting to think that maybe good old Tim was my guardian angel or something. Meg and I shrugged at each other and headed into the igloo for the night. It had been a long and cold couple of days, and we needed some sleep. On days 90 to 94, I invited Meg to come back to the base, and she happily agreed. We gathered some more food along the way, since we figured our friends would be hungry. Once we got there, I repaired my armor and used my smithing table to upgrade my diamond sword into a netherite sword. It was amazing! I swung it around to test it out. This isn't Brink, but it'll sure give Jenkins a run for his money. I also upgraded my armor into netherite. It was going to be tough to beat me. I went outside to show my friends. They got really excited and started cheering me on.
Yeah, Zozo!
You're our hero. Go beat Jenkins and get our land back.
I felt really strong and hopeful, but I knew there were a few things I needed to do before I could go infiltrate Jenkins' compound. On days 95 to 97, I woke up to the farmers I had helped calling out for me. I went outside and they gave me supplies to finish the statue as a thanks. Using everything they had given me, I got right to work. It took a little bit of time, but soon I had finished the statue. Wow, it looks amazing, guys! We did a great job. No, thank you, Zozo. You've brought us all in and protected us. It's been a long time since anyone has had hope, but you've given it to us, so thank you. I looked up at the statue of Brink. I knew that I didn't have the sword with me, but the statue gave me hope that I would find it again. I knew I could beat Jenkins. It was my destiny. On day 98, I went to say goodbye to my friends before heading out to the compound. Just then, Meg approached me from behind.
Zozo, I'd like to come with you. I want to fight alongside you and find my family.
You are more than welcome to come. We crafted Meg some better armor and weapons, and then we made one last trip around the base. You take care of yourself, Lieutenant. Will do, Nick. Take care of the base for us. If anyone else needs help, let them in. For sure. I talked to Caleb. He rummaged around and gave me and Meg another potion of healing.
Now go and be triumphant, young hero.
Thanks. We stopped at Izzy last. She gave me a beautiful arrangement of flowers.
Thank you for saving me, Zozo. Now go save everyone else.
Will do. I then left Izzy's house. If you want to support the last of our journey, be sure to subscribe. The more people we have, the stronger we can become. And with that, Meg and I headed out to the compound of Jenkins. On day 99, Meg and I arrived at the compound. We snuck to the back door and used the key Luke had dropped. It worked, and we snuck up through a tunnel into a large room. There were bandits everywhere. We decided to charge in and fight them. Meg and I fought our way through all of them easily, making our way to some stairs.
Zozo, I'm going to look for my family. You go find Jenkins.
Be safe. She went down the stairs and I went up further into the mansion. There were a few more bandits on the way, which I easily took out. I finally came to a large dark red room. It was incredibly creepy. At one end of the room, there was a lava lake with a pedestal. On top of it was a sword. That has to be Brink, but it's different than what I had imagined. I started towards it, but then felt something hit me backwards. It was Jenkins! He must have been hiding behind a pillar, waiting for me. His red sword blinked.
The young police officer. Why won't you just stop bothering me?
I'm here to bring justice to those you have wronged. He laughed at me.
Sure. Do your worst, rookie.
I charged at him and our swords clashed. Then I noticed that my sword was not really effective at all. I needed to get Brink sooner rather than later.
Just give up. You're no match against me.
If that's so, then why couldn't you wield Brink? He yelled in anger.
It's just a silly, stubborn sword. I thought freezing it in the tundra mine would work, but it didn't. But it doesn't matter. I don't need a dinky little sword when I have this.
He swung his sword around, slicing at me. My health went down, but I hurried and drank a health potion. Thank goodness for those. I was able to maneuver around Jenkins and hit him, causing him to stumble. I knew this was my chance. I ran towards Brink, reaching towards the hilt. Jenkins ran after me, ready to swing.
No!
On day 100, Brink released from the pedestal into my hands. I felt an amazing surge of power, and I transformed into a bigger and stronger police officer. I was now the chief of police. I had robotic features, and the power from me stunned Jenkins for a second. Give up, Jenkins! He growled, and I attacked attacked him. Our swords met and his shattered into dust.
No!
He tried to run away, but I attacked. Jenkins was defeated in one single blow. I did it! I jumped for joy. I knew I would retrieve the sword and defeat Jenkins. We could all go home now. I hurried down the stairs and helped Meg release the prisoners. They all went back to their homes, finally at peace that the land was free of Jenkins. Meg and I made our way back to the base with her and Izzy's families. We all celebrated the victory, happy to know that everyone was safe. On day 1, I woke up in a basket, floating down a river. Whoa, where am I? Who am I? The basket washed up on the edge of the river, and I hopped onto the shore. That's when I noticed I had a cane in my hand. I took a closer look. The cane of Moses, a reminder of his parents. I'm Moses, but I'm just a baby with 3 hearts. At least my parents gave me this cool cane that doesn't seem to have any special powers. I wonder where they are. Just then, I heard a splash in the water behind me, and a crocodile came jumping out of the water. Ah, I gotta go. A giant crocodile like that could eat a baby like me in one bite. As I ran into the desert, I soon climbed a hill, finding a small village on the other side. A village! I'll bet there's someone here who can help me find my parents. As I ran into the village, I noticed there didn't seem to be anyone around. Hello? Anyone? Can anyone hear me? Hello? I had run through the whole village, but nobody was here. Another mystery to solve. It was soon getting late, so I decided that I'd spend the night here. Maybe I could find out what was going on tomorrow. On day 2, I woke up to the silence of the abandoned village. If I'm gonna find out where everyone went, I need to be prepared. The house I was in needed some repairs, so I headed over to the trees to get myself some wood. Using the wood I had gathered, I made myself a stone pickaxe as well as some wood slabs. Then I used the wood slabs to fill in the roof. Next up, more tools. I headed over to a nearby hill and used my pickaxe to gather limestone that could be used to make limestone tools. As I was mining though, a husk suddenly appeared at the top of the hill. Oh no, I don't have any weapons yet. I hurried and put together a crafting table, then used that to craft a limestone sword. I turned around just in time. The husk and I had a fearsome battle, and he brought me down to half a heart. Armed with my sword though, I was able to deliver the final blow. That's what you get for trying to mess with me. It was at that moment that I realized I didn't have any food. I had seen a wheat field earlier, so I built myself a bridge across the river so I could go to it. I was pretty sure I couldn't swim. I was just a baby after all. With my stomach growling, I quickly started harvesting as much wheat as I could. Suddenly, I heard something rustling in the wheat behind me and turned to see a hippo. Ah! Oh wait, you're just a baby, like me. What's your name? Just then, I heard a terrifying sound and turned to see an adult hippo looking right at me.
Get away from my little brother!
He looked angry, and I still only had half of a heart. I had to get out of there. I ran back across my bridge, breaking a couple blocks behind me. Once I had gotten away, I hurried and made myself some bread. Bread has never tasted so good. Later that evening, I heard a sound outside my window. When I looked outside, the baby hippo from before was out there.
Hey, I'm sorry to bug you, but I wanted to apologize for earlier. My brother Hugo was kind of intense.
I hopped down the side of the building. That's okay. He really scared me. You seem nice though.
I try to be. My name is Harry. Here, I brought you some fish to say sorry. I'll see you around.
I thanked him for the fish and quickly got them cooking in the furnace so they could be ready for the next day. Then I used some of my remaining limestone to finish making a set of limestone tools. On day 3, I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps. The villagers, they must be back. I hurried down the ladder to greet them when I was suddenly swarmed by a group of husks. Oh no, I forgot to fix the door. The husks tried to surround me as I ran out of the house. I could fight one of them off, but it wasn't looking like I could handle a whole group of them. Just as all hope was lost, Hugo came charging in to help. In no time, he managed to fight off all of the husks. Wow, you saved me. Thank you.
No problem. Harry told me he stopped by and said you were a nice guy. Sorry for scaring you earlier.
That's okay. Those husks should have been more scared. Feel free to stop by anytime. After Hugo had left, I suddenly felt more strength returning to my limbs, and I grew into a teenager. And now I have 7 hearts. The next day, I was walking around the edge of town when I saw someone taking a look at the basket I had spawned in. Just then, the crocodile that had attacked me showed up again, catching her off guard. Hang on, I'll help you. I ran over to her and started fighting off the crocodile. With my new strength, I was much better suited for this fight. I kept swinging my sword and was able to take him out.
Wow, nice moves. I thought I was a goner for sure.
I'm happy to help. Say, I was hoping you might be able to help me with something. The village over there is completely empty. Do you know what happened to everyone?
Oh, yes, the people that used to live here. They're gone.
Yeah, do you know where?
Yeah, I do. They moved.
Oh, really? All of them? Something bad must have happened.
No, not bad. They all live in the city now. My dad is actually the pharaoh there. Speaking of, you should come live in the city. It's really not safe out here.
I agreed, and she showed me the way. I was getting tired of being attacked by crocodiles and husks every day. On days 4 to 5, the princess and I arrived at the big city. The princess, whose name was Nubia, showed me around. Wow, this city is huge. It must have taken a long time for you guys to build everything. Nubia simply nodded as we walked closer to the palace. She was taking me to meet the pharaoh. As I entered the throne room, I could see the pharaoh sitting on his throne.
Nubia, welcome home. And who do we have here?
Father, I wanted you to meet Zozo. I was attacked by a crocodile, and he saved me when I thought all hope was lost.
Nubia, what have I told you about wandering along the river? Thank goodness young Zozo was here to save you. Zozo, I am in your debt. Please, let me settle it by giving you a place to stay here in our prosperous city.
Wow, that would be amazing. This is a beautiful city.
I will give you one of our finest rooms. You can live next door to my son. Ramses, come say hello to our new friend.
Ramses came running over with 2 servants behind him.
I heard you saved my sister. Nice going. Although don't get too comfortable. She's always needing someone to bail her out.
Nubia rolled her eyes as the pharaoh led us out to a balcony overlooking the city.
This city is my pride and joy. As our newest citizen, I just want to make sure you understand its history. Many years ago, I was born to rule and lead these people. If not for me, this place would be a disaster. So anyone who lives here should be happy and grateful to be here.
I nodded, but man, this guy really seemed full of himself. But I did appreciate having a place to stay. I couldn't wait to meet all the happy people in the kingdom.
Nubia, please, show Zozo around the city so he can see everything I've accomplished. Ramses, you join them. Go on.
Ramses, Nubia, and I left the palace, and they began to show me around. There were some really amazing things to see. There were monuments, statues, and lots of buildings. This was some of the best building I had ever seen. Wow, I can't believe your dad was able to build all of this. That's really impressive.
Well, he didn't actually build it himself. The people from the desert villages built a lot of it.
Yeah, but if Dad wouldn't have given them direction and a place to live, they would have been miserable. They're much happier here.
We continued the tour, but I started to notice that most of the people didn't seem to look very happy. In fact, I thought all of them looked like they were hungry. I wasn't so sure about all of this. At the end of the day, Ramses showed me to my room. It was a lot nicer than the rooms of the people we had passed. He told me to get some rest, as tomorrow there was a special show scheduled that he thought I'd enjoy. I headed over to the bed and laid down for the night. On day 6 through 8, I followed Nubia and Ramses out of the palace and to the city coliseum. Ramses seemed pretty excited about the special show we were going to. We soon reached the VIP booth where the pharaoh was already seated.
You can take my seat, Zozo. I like to get close to the action.
As I sat, I noticed that Nubia didn't seem very happy to be here, but she didn't say anything. Just then, a door in the arena opened and a gladiator came walking into the arena as the crowd cheered. Were we about to watch some kind of fight? Then the door on the opposite side opened and a giant hippo entered the arena. Is that Hugo? Hugo was chained to a post and the gladiator started to attack him. The crowd began to cheer. What is he doing? He's going to hurt him.
Yes, my boy, that is the point. That's our strongest warrior down there, giving us all a little entertainment after a long week's work.
But it's not even a fair fight. Hugo's chained to the post. He can barely fight back.
Hugo, don't tell me you've named the beast.
He's no beast. He's my friend. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. I thought I saw Nubia give me a small grin as I jumped down into the arena. I ran up to the gladiator and hit him with my sword.
What the? Where did this keep come from?
My hit had managed to distract the gladiator for just a second, which let Hugo start to get some hits in. With the gladiator distracted, I quickly broke the post he was chained to, then jumped on his back.
Enough!
Several pillars rose up from the ground as the pharaoh rose from his seat.
Zozo, we opened our homes to you out of the kindness of our hearts, and this is how you repay us? If you won't accept us, then we can never accept you. Leave now, or my gladiator will destroy you. You are hereby banished.
This hippo is my friend. I can't support someone who would hurt him for their own entertainment. I'm sorry. I turned and rode out of the city on Hugo's back. How was I going to survive now? On days 9 through 10, I was wandering in the desert. Hugo had told me to stay with him, but I couldn't risk putting him in danger, so I continued on alone. But I couldn't feel too bad for myself, as I was suddenly attacked by a pack of hyenas. I'm definitely not in the city anymore. Get back, you fiends! The hyenas snapped at me, but I managed to hit them enough to keep them all away from me. I better hurry and find some place to set up camp. It's starting to get hot out here. Lucky for me, I soon came across some old ruins. There are all kinds of cool structures here. As I walked through the ruins, I also saw there was an oasis nearby. Oh man, this is just what I needed. This oasis was a beautiful spot to build a camp to live in, so I got right to work building myself a house. It wasn't anything big or fancy, but it was just right for me. I soon finished. Well, I might as well check out some of these ruins while I'm here. I hiked into some of the nearby ruins and started looking through the dusty crates. There were some basic food and resources, but the real gem was the golden desert armor. I kept looking through the crates and was able to find an entire set. This is great. I'm already starting to feel safer. I hiked back to my camp when I heard some sheep nearby. I gathered them up and put them in a pen. These sheep give me an idea. I found a nice plot in the desert and started working on a statue. I think this is going to look really cool out here. I'd love to hear what you think it's going to be. After a bit, part 1 of the statue was complete. On days 11 through 12, I woke up to something interesting outside my door. It was a note. Hello, I saw you come to the old ruin down below. I saw you build with such passion and enthusiasm. You show great promise. I would like to meet you. Come to the location marked on the map. It is in the mountains near here. This could be a trap set by the pharaoh, but I think it's worth the risk. They might be able to help me. With the map in hand, I made my way out into the desert. I had to climb a large hill, but as I reached the top, I saw a torch outside a cave. Inside the cave was an old man.
Zozo, I'm so happy you've come.
Hi. Who are you?
I used to be the leader of the desert people, but the Pharaoh came and forced them to work for him. He says everyone is happy, but that's because anyone who says otherwise is never seen again.
I knew something was off. I could tell the people in the city weren't as happy as he said they were. Are you going to save them? The old man smiled.
In a way, but that work will be done through you.
Me? How could someone like me ever defeat a powerful pharaoh?
He is powerful, but he relies too much on his own strength. There are other ways we can defeat him.
What do you mean?
That city is his greatest source of pride. If we can destroy his city, not only will he fall apart, but the people of the city can rise up and escape. That city is nothing without the work of the people. It will be up to you to make things bad for him. I should also mention that there is a powerful item buried in this cave. You're not ready for it yet, but I know one day you will be.
I'll do my best. I think I know where to get started. I thanked the old man and headed out of the cave. It was time to head back to the city. On days 13 to 15, I crossed the desert back toward the city. The city soon came into view, and I started stacking my way to the top of the city. If I was going to cause some disruptions, I needed to get a closer look at what was around. I ran along the top of the city and looked over the edge. That's when I noticed there was a water supply running through the center of the city. If I could disrupt the water supply, that would definitely cause some problems for the pharaoh. But I can't cut it off. That would hurt innocent people. Just then, I had the perfect idea, but I needed to head back to the river. I ran back across the city top and headed to the river. Soon, I had reached the riverside, and I could see flowers on the other side.
Need a ride?
Hugo, perfect timing. I was just wondering how I would get across. I soon reached the other side and started gathering up as many roses and poppies as I could. I was going to need them for my special project. Once I had finished collecting as many as I could, I met Hugo back down by the river.
Hey, I found this health regeneration necklace at the bottom of the river. I thought you might be interested in it.
Hugo tossed out the necklace, which I picked up and equipped. He then let me hop on his back and gave me a ride back across the river. Time to get back to the base and start working on my secret plan. On day 16 to 19, I got right to work building a mill. I had a big project in mind, so I was going to need a tool to help me get all of the work done quick. The mill was soon complete, and I got right to work, adding all of the flowers I had gathered the day before to the machine. It didn't take too long, but I soon had a large amount of red dye. This ought to be enough dye. It's all coming together. Just then, I heard a sound outside and went to check out the noise. There was a group of tomb raiders outside. They must be here to raid the ruins. They caught sight of me and charged. I'm not a bad guy. Back off. The raiders were strong and nearly took all of my health. They had some good gear. I wonder if they found all of this in the old tombs. Thankfully, though, I was able to overcome their sword swings and take them all out. As they disappeared, I noticed that they dropped some iron bars. Iron! This will help me be even stronger than before. Guess I'm glad they came here after all. Just then, I felt more strength surge through me, and I grew into an adult. And check it out, I even have a beard. Oh, and more hearts, too. I headed over to the crafting table, and by using the iron I'd picked up, made myself some new iron gear. If anything went wrong on my secret mission tomorrow, I would be ready for a fight. Then I went over to the statue and got to work on the second part. It might look like I'm finishing it, but I have a whole other part to do. Be sure to keep watching to see what it is. On days 20 to 22, I snuck my way back over to the city, ready to put my plan into action. But first, I had to make it there, as I was suddenly attacked by a group of wraiths. Ah, you guys are freaky! With my new iron gear, though, they were going to have a hard time taking me out. I swung my sword and was able to destroy all of them. That was scary, but I've got a mission to complete. Soon, I was making my way through the city streets. There were a lot of guards wandering around, but if I was sneaky, I could weave through the buildings. I had to get to the water supply. I almost got caught, but finally, I made it to the source of the water.
Halt!
Uh-oh, looks like I've got company. A small group of guards attacked. There were a lot of them, but I had to see this through. They hit me again and again, nearly taking all of my health. I can't let them win. I must save the people of this city. I rose up and started swinging even stronger than before. I was starting to win. There was only one guy left, but he managed to get away. I better hurry. I'm sure there will be more guards coming soon. I ran back over to the water supply and started throwing the dye into the water. If I could turn the water red, people might start blaming the pharaoh for their lack of clean water. It took a little while for the change to take effect, but soon the water had all turned red.
What do you think you're doing?
I looked down and saw the guard had returned with the gladiator from the arena. I wasn't going to be able to run away this time.
Who do you think you are, coming back here? And what happened to the water? What have you done?
The pharaoh is no hero. He's forcing people to work for him. It's not right. He needs to let these people go.
No one's gonna ruin our city, especially a little desert man like you.
The gladiator attacked. This was their city's strongest warrior. This was going to be quite the fight. He had a massive sword that really packed a punch. It doesn't have to be like this. Surely you can see that the pharaoh is evil.
My life seems pretty good. Too bad yours is over.
My health was nearly gone, but I had to keep fighting for these people. I kept moving and was finally able to land the final hit. As the gladiator disappeared, he dropped his sword. A claymore, huh? This thing is huge, but it's as light as a feather. I took a look at the guard, and he took off running again. What a wimp. I took a look at the water again. Well, I'm surely going to get the Pharaoh's attention now. Just then, I heard a bunch of feet running. A whole battalion of guards were running right at me. That's my cue. Time to go. I jumped over the wall, and the guards ran up and looked down at me. Now I just need to wait and see how the Pharaoh responds to my mission. On days 23 to 26, I was still making my way across the desert. Up ahead, I could see some orange rocks. Oh, I could use those for the next stage of the statue. I ran over and got to work mining them out. I've got a cool idea for what I could add to the statue. I think everyone will really like it. As I finished mining, I noticed there was a cave nearby. Maybe there are resources inside I could use. I made my way down into the cave and soon came across some iron ore. Perfect. This is just what I was looking for. I kept going deeper into the cave, mining more resources. Suddenly, the room opened up and there was a massive subscribe on the wall. Oh, wow. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. I'm having a lot of fun and I hope you are too. If you haven't subbed yet, I'd love to have you join the team. On days 27 to 31, I was out of the cave and heading back to my base. As I was crossing the desert, I saw a bunch of camels escaping from their caravan. Hang on, I'll help you. The camels went running off behind a small dune and I followed them to the other side. I soon saw that the animals had gathered at a nearby oasis. Hey guys, you were just a little thirsty, weren't you? Suddenly, the camels ran away and a giant crab came walking out of the water. Whoa, where the heck did you come from? The crab snapped at me with his pincers as I swung my sword. His hard shell was difficult to crack, but not too hard for my new sword. The crab was quickly defeated. Phew, now let's get these camels back to their rightful owner. I led the camels back to the grateful trader.
Thank you, sir. Say, are you the one who changed the city water red? I'm glad someone is standing up to the Pharaoh. I have a lot of good friends trapped in that city. I passed by there and the Pharaoh was pretty mad.
Oh yeah? I'm glad to hear it worked. Hopefully it'll make the people angry enough to rise up against him.
Well, everyone is upset and he's mad, but he's made it even harder for everyone. He's also doubled security around the city. I'm afraid it didn't do what you were hoping.
Oh no, I'll have to figure something else out.
I know just the thing.
The trader headed over to one of his chests, then returned and placed a strange box in front of me.
Here, you can have this. Think of it as a thank you for rescuing my camels.
The trader opened the box and a bunch of frogs jumped out. I didn't see how a box full of frogs, which now had no frogs in it, was going to be any help, but I didn't want to be rude as he was clearly excited to give it to me. Wow, that is so cool. Thanks. I invited the trader to come stay at my base with me to sell his wares. The city wouldn't be safe for him if people knew he had helped me. He agreed, but needed to take care of some things first. I picked the box up and headed back to my base. What could I do next to stop the Pharaoh? On days 32 to 35, I returned back to my base. I wasn't sure what to do next yet, but figured it would be a good time to empty my pockets and start smelting the iron I'd collected. With the iron ingots, I then crafted a full set of desert iron armor, as well as a new set of iron tools. I had also gotten a few diamonds in the cave earlier, so I used those to make myself a new diamond pick. Whatever my next step is, I'll be ready for a fight. Just then, I heard the sound of a camel outside and met the trader as he rode up. Hey, glad you could make it. I was thinking about it, and I think it'll be a good idea if we build you a shop. Maybe people are scared to leave the city because they have nowhere else to go.
That is a brilliant idea. I just picked up some fresh items, so I have plenty of things to sell.
I quickly got to work building the trader a shop. If I couldn't free all the people from the city, at the very least I could give the ones who do escape a place to live. The shop was soon finished. Once the trader had settled in, I walked up to see what he had to sell. Hey, I hope you're all settled in. I was hoping you might have some kind of special item that could help me get back at the Pharaoh. The trader gave me a confused look.
What do you mean? I thought you would be able to do something with the frog box.
Oh yeah, I mean it was really cool when you showed me it was full of frogs, but since they all had hopped away, I don't really know what to do with it now.
I see. I may not have explained it very well. You see, it's an infinite frog box. Every time you open it, more frogs will come out. You will never run out of frogs.
Man, this guy was really into frogs. But just then, inspiration struck. I had a new idea to get back to the Pharaoh, but I was gonna need some help from some old friends. On days 36 to 39, I had arrived back at the river where I met up with Hugo and some of his pals. Hugo, I had a question for you. I recently got this box that can create infinite frogs, and I know just what to do with it. The problem is, I don't have a good way to get into the city now that it has increased security. Do you know a good way in? Before Hugo could answer though, the small bird on his back piped up.
Oh, I know just the thing. Hang on 1 second.
The little bird flew off. Where could he be going? Moments later, he returned with a much bigger bird.
This is my friend. We're all sick of the Pharaoh capturing all of our bird friends and keeping them in cages.
The big bird explained that he could pick me up and carry me over the city, which would let me shake the box, dropping frogs through the whole city. That's a perfect plan. Meet me at the mountaintop near my base tomorrow morning. We've got some frogs to drop. On days 40 to 43, the big bird met me on top of the mountain. I hopped on his back and we flew away toward the city. As we got closer, I could see all the new guards defending it. Let's see them defend against this. As we flew over the city, I started dropping frogs. Down below, I could see the city had started to wake up with a few people roaming around the streets. As the frogs landed, I could hear screams as people began to panic. It looks like the plan is working. By the time I had finished dropping the frogs, the sun had fully risen and the whole city could see something was wrong. I was too busy looking down at the people when I accidentally slipped and fell off the bird, landing in the water below. Whoa! Oh, uh-oh, that wasn't part of the plan. I hopped up as a couple of townspeople ran over to me.
Zozo, these frogs are disgusting, but we're so glad you're here. The pharaoh is so mean. We want to help, but don't have anywhere to go.
Just then, I heard a shout. The guards were coming. Stay behind me. I have a safe place we can go. We ran for the exit as a group of guards charged at us. Looks like I'm gonna have to fight my way out of this one. The guards were intense, but I was able to cut them down and keep pushing for the exit. Soon enough, we had fought our way out of the city and ran to the desert. I wonder if the frogs would be enough for the pharaoh to let the people go. On days 44 to 49, I arrived back at the base with all of the villagers. We went to have a chat with the trader.
My goodness, Zozo, look at all of these customers. People. I'm so happy they were able to escape.
So am I. They're here to join our cause. Hopefully we can help everyone else escape too. But in the meantime, let's start building a place for you all to stay. Out behind my house, I got to work making a space for all of the villagers to build their homes. Once the area was prepped, they helped me to build their houses. We had a real town coming together. Soon, all the houses were done. Good job, everyone. This place is looking really great. I can't wait to get more people to move in. With all of the villagers moved in, I was feeling inspired to add the next part of the statue. With a little bit of help, I was able to finish the first part of the next section. Any guesses what I'm building next? After I was finished, the villagers came up to me with a real problem. If people were going to live here, we needed a way for everyone to eat. That's a good point. I think it's a good chance for us to strike back at the pharaoh too. I think we should go back to the city and bring all of their livestock here. That food should belong to you. The villagers agreed. The city would surely fall without a food source. This is a great idea, but I'm sure the pharaoh is going to have increased security. How am I going to be strong enough to get in this time?
Zozo, who are you talking to? I think the heat might be getting to you, but I did find something in the ruins that might help with your problem. Follow me.
On days 50 to 53, the trader led me to the tomb entrance. He explained that the tomb seemed untouched, but he was too scared to go inside. Well, I'll go take a look. Hopefully we can find something helpful. I ran inside. Right ahead of me was a book on a pedestal, so I opened it up. Yeah, this book isn't very helpful. If I can't even read the book, how am I ever gonna get into this place? Wait a second, what's that? Just behind me was a button. I hit the button and heard a secret panel in the wall open. I headed through and entered a massive room. This must have been a pharaoh's tomb.
Who dares enter my tomb? If you can defeat my guardians, then perhaps I will share my secret power with you.
Suddenly, a bunch of gas appeared and started to attack me. Ooh, scary. But that secret power sounds just like what I need. The gas were not very happy to see me and kept shooting fireballs. Unlucky for them though, I was able to hop around and hit the fireballs right back at them. As I destroyed them, I saw that they were dropping gunpowder. Gunpowder! That gives me an idea for the next time we go to the city. I kept fighting until finally all of the gas were defeated. I picked up the gunpowder and took a look around the room. I soon saw a passageway which led me deeper into the tomb.
You may have defeated my gas, but I am not finished with you yet.
Just then, I ran into a jackal, and boy was this guy strong. Those spears are way too OP. I was able to use my shield to block, but just a few hits from the jackal would take me out. I managed to eat some food and heal up, then began to fight back. It was a close one, but I was able to win the fight. I kept going through the tomb when I saw a small tunnel up ahead. Suddenly, I fell down a hole, landing in a small pool of water.
What? How did you get this far? Well, you won't like this.
Just then, a bunch of blazes spawned in and started to attack. One of them even managed to catch me on fire. The fire definitely didn't feel good, but luckily, they weren't as strong as they looked. I was able to defeat them pretty quickly. There was a staircase nearby, so I followed that. I had to be close. Just then, I entered another room and saw the mummified pharaoh appear. I made it! I'll take that secret power, please.
You know, I thought about it, and I decided I want to keep it. Shazam!
A bunch of mummies spawned and attacked me. They were slow, but strong. But I had made it this far, and nothing was going to stop me. The mummies were soon destroyed.
Okay, I guess I'll just do this myself.
The pharaoh hopped down and started to attack me too. You know, we don't have to fight. You can just give me the prize.
Do you have any idea how bored I am? At least this is something to do. Hi-ya!
Honestly, if this guy wasn't attacking me, we'd probably be friends. Soon enough, I had landed a bunch of blows, and he was nearly defeated.
Okay, I think you've proved your point. Go ahead and take the prize.
The mummy pharaoh disappeared. I hopped up and took a look inside of his tomb and found a totem of undying, a set of raw armor, and Horus's ascension. I quickly put on all of the armor and equipped the weapon. Just then, the power began to course through me, and I leveled up into a powerful, full-grown man. And check it out, my beard is legendary. Before leaving the tomb, I had to try out the new weapon. Outside the room, I ran into some more mummies. I hit them with the Horus's ascension, which sent them flying into the air. Looks like it's time to head back to the city and get those animals. On days 54 to 57, I emerged from the tomb, then returned back to my house to craft. At my crafting table, I put together some TNT. You know what they say, the best way out is always through. We're gonna blast our way right through the walls. I went to talk to the villagers, and a few of them agreed to come with me to help. We traveled across the desert and soon came to the farm on the edge of the city. I set up the TNT and set it off. Fire in the hole! The TNT blew a hole in the wall and we ran into the farm. Alright, you guys start wrangling the animals and I'll get us some hay. I ran into a nearby shelter and picked up a few hay bales. I ran back outside and handed them out to the villagers. With the hay in hand, they managed to round up all the animals and lead them away. Looks like they're gonna make it out. I might as well grab some more wheat before I leave. I quickly got to it, cutting up as much wheat as I could. I had just about finished gathering all of the wheat and seeds when a group of guards ran up, but look who was leading them. Ramses, what are you doing here?
Zozo, you're the man from the desert? I barely recognize you. I'm so happy to see you again.
You're not angry to see me? I thought you were here to attack me.
No, in fact, I've been trying to join you. All of us here have seen my father's power and influence fading. Please, let us join your community.
I couldn't believe my luck. Ramses had been so nice to me before, and I was happy to have him as part of our group. The more people we had, the better chance we had to free the rest of the villagers. On days 58 to 62, I was back at the base when one of the villagers pulled me aside. He was nervous about Ramses being there with a bunch of palace soldiers. Could we really trust him? Before I could answer, Ramses walked up with his guards.
Don't worry, friend. You don't have anything to worry about. If I didn't come with good intentions, I wouldn't tell you this. The pharaoh is actually putting together a large army and plans to attack.
If that's the case, then we need to get prepared. Please, if everyone could give me a hand, we can build everything we need.
Don't you think it'll be wiser just to leave things how they are? This is a nice community here. Attacking the pharaoh will only end in failure. I've seen how powerful this army is.
I think you lack faith, my friend. We won't rest until everyone has been freed. I'm positive we can find a way to win. Ramses didn't seem convinced, but he agreed and asked what we needed to do to get ready. First things first, we started to clear out some of the old ruins. This was going to be the perfect place to set up our farms. We had an army to feed, so we had to make sure we had a good farm. Next, we got to work building a barracks for all of the soldiers. This would give them a place to rest and get ready for the fight ahead. I was able to get plenty of help, so we were able to finish it pretty quickly. Then I met Ramses outside. Ramses, I know living in the desert is quite a transition for you. I can build you a special place if you'd like.
That is okay. I will live in a regular house like everyone else. However, I wouldn't mind helping you out with that statue.
Ramses then joined me as we worked on the next part of the statue. It was really starting to come along. As we worked, I mentioned that I would go speak with the old man in the cave to see if he had any ideas. When I mentioned the old man, Ramses asked to join me, to which I agreed. We would go in the morning. Soon, the next part of the statue was complete. On days 63 to 66, Ramsey and I headed up the mountain toward the cave. As we crossed the mountaintop, we ran into a bunch of spiders. What are these spiders doing all the way up here? Ramses and I sprang into action, fighting them off. Working together, we were able to defeat them in no time. It was nice having a good fighter to help out. As we approached the cave, I could hear the old man's voice calling out to me.
Zozo, you may enter, but only alone.
Sorry, Ramses. You'll have to wait out here. Ramses agreed, and I entered the cave.
I know why you've come. The pharaoh is gathering his armies, isn't he?
Yes, I was hoping you might be able to help us. I thought maybe that buried item you had mentioned before might be useful at a time like this.
In fact, there is a hidden item that can help, but it is not the one buried here. I will give you the directions to the cave.
The old man explained where I needed to go to find this item. Excited to have a special item for the fight, I was getting ready to leave.
But before you go, Zozo, I leave you with a warning. I know your community has grown, but are you sure everyone can be trusted?
I nodded, but I wasn't sure what he could mean. Maybe he was talking about Ramses, but he had done more than enough to prove he wanted to help. I would keep my eye out for any suspicious villagers. Outside the cave, I told Ramses all about the item and where we needed to go. He was just as excited as me, so we headed off to find the cave. On days 67 to 70, Ramses and I had entered the cave. Soon, we saw an interesting looking statue in the middle of the tunnel. I'm surprised someone took the time to build a statue deep down in a cave like this. Suddenly, the statue sprang to life and started to attack us. It's a good thing Ramses had come with me though, as together we were able to quickly defeat it. Nice one, Ramses. Let's keep going. We continued down the tunnel and eventually saw two more statues. We stood there for a moment waiting for them to come to life. Maybe these ones are just statues? I guess. Whoa! The statues had come to life and started to attack. There were two of them this time, which made it harder than before. But even then, we still managed to fight them both off. I wonder how much deeper we have to go. I mean, what's next? 3 statues? We continued until we saw a larger room. Inside was a huge statue, way bigger than the other ones. Well, I think it's clear what we have to do. Let's do this! Ramses and I got to work, attacking the big statue. His big arms landed some heavy blows as we jumped around, getting as many hits in in as we could. We even had to run out of the room and hide to heal up. Thankfully though, we were able to get enough hits in and the giant statue was destroyed. As he vanished, we saw something left in his place. This must be that special item the old man was talking about. With this, we'll be able to beat the Pharaoh once and for all. Come on, Ramses, let's...
Sorry, Zozo.
Ramses hit me on the head, knocking me out. Before I blocked out completely, I saw him pick up the item. On day 71 to 74, I woke up to see that I was all alone. Oh, my head hurts. Ramses must have stolen the weapon and escaped. I've got to go make sure everyone is okay. I quickly ran out of the cave and headed straight to the old man. When I arrived, his cave was empty and all of his stuff was gone. Ramses must have beaten me here. What am I supposed to do now? Just then I remembered the buried item. I began digging around. Surely I could use whatever this mysterious item is now. I uncovered a chest and opened it to look inside. A note. You had the power with you the whole time. Use your power of hope, will, and the strength of your people to overcome any obstacle. It's just a motivational note? I don't need that. I need a weapon that can save everyone. Oh no, everyone! I ran over to the other side of the mountain and could see our town was in flames. Why would Ramses betray us like this? I should have listened to the villagers, the old man. They were right about him. I hurried and ran down the mountain to look for survivors. As I got closer, I could see several of the villagers, and the trader came running up to me.
Zozo, where have you been? Ramses returned to gather all his soldiers, and they all attacked.
I'm so sorry. Ramses knocked me out and took the special weapon we had found.
That must have been what he was using. He had some incredible abilities and had turned into a monster, but somehow we managed to push them out.
I've got to stop him before he can give the item to the Pharaoh. I better get to the city quick.
That's the thing. I don't think he went to the city. There's a fort near here. I think you should go there to face him.
I thanked the trader for his help, then went into the desert. I sure hope I can get the item back. On days 75 to 78, I could see the fort in the distance. I couldn't waste any time trying to be sneaky this time. I was charging through the front. As I entered the fort, Ramses' soldiers tried to stop me. Good luck! You guys are all traitors! I ran through the base, using my main weapon to throw them high in the air. I felt like I was running through the base, flipping pancakes. You're gonna need a meal on this flight. One by one, I tossed the guards into the air and out of my way. At long last, I made it to the main tower and ran up the stairs. As I reached the top, Ramses was waiting for me. On days 79 to 84, I stood face to face with Ramses. He didn't look like a monster.
I don't want to do this, but I can't let you go any further. Your story ends here.
Ramses put on a battle helmet and attacked. Ramses, how could you betray me like this?
I never wanted to betray you. In fact, I wanted to save you. You can't face my father. He'll destroy you and all the people you're fighting for. I thought if I could take the special item, you'd give up the fight.
I can't stop fighting though, can I? Your father will never stop. And even if we can live in our village, there are still hundreds of people still being kept as his prisoners. Just give me the item and we can stop him together.
It's too late. I've already sent it to my father. Just surrender now, and we can be done with this.
I don't want to fight you, but I can't let these innocent people be captured. I'm sorry. Just then, I landed the final blow, defeating Ramses for good. In another life, maybe we could have been brothers. I hope one day we can meet again. I picked up the helmet he had dropped and put it on. It was a sad day, but it was time to save everyone. On days 85 to 89, I arrived back in the village and met up with the trader. I told him everything that had happened and that the Pharaoh now had the special item. He encouraged me to keep fighting, but first, we needed to fix the village. We all got to work cleaning up the damage in the village. The soldiers had really hurt the buildings, but it wasn't anything we couldn't fix. It took a long time, but soon, everything was back to normal. I then headed over to the statue and got to work finishing that up. Before I went to the city, everything needed to be properly put into place, just in case I didn't return. Soon, the statue was complete. Don't forget to subscribe, so you can be the first to go on our adventures with us. On days 90 to 94, I decided to take a walk around the base. I wasn't sure what to do next. As I saw the villagers tending to their crops, I noticed the ditches they had dug to bring the water in. Suddenly, I had an idea. I hurried to tell all of the villagers my plan. With the villagers on board with my plan, I gathered up as much sand as I could. I was going to need a lot of it if this was going to work. I also went back to the Pharaoh's tomb to fight more gas and collect gunpowder. As a final step, I met back up with Hugo to ask for his help. He was pretty excited about what I had in store for the Pharaoh and was happy to help. All his friends agreed to help too. Alright, everything should be in place. The Pharaoh better watch his back. I'm coming for him. On days 95 to 97, I made my way back to the city with Hugo and his pals. Everybody ready? Charge! I quickly put on my armor and we ran into the city. There were even more guards here than before, but they were no match for my gang of hippo pals and powerful items. The higher they go, the harder they fall. I flipped guards in the air as we made our way toward the palace. As we got closer, storm clouds began to roll in and lightning started striking the ground. It must be the Pharaoh using the special item. We have to hurry. As we ran through the square, we told as many people as we could to flee to our desert base. The lightning strikes were getting really scary and hit some of the villagers. It even hit one of Hugo's pals. Luckily, he was able to shake it off and keep going. Soon, we were at the entrance to the palace grounds. On day 98, we entered the palace grounds and began fighting our way through. It felt like there was an endless stream of guards attacking us, but they couldn't handle the strength of me and my hippo team. Hugo, you know what to do. Wait here for me. I ran into the palace and managed to fight off the guards on the first floor. All that was left was to head upstairs and face the Pharaoh.
Hey, hang on a second.
Nubia, came running over to me. Nubia, what are you still doing here? Your father has become too dangerous.
I know. After you stood up to him in the arena, it inspired me to do the same. I had always felt like what he was doing was wrong, but it wasn't until then that I felt like I had the courage to say something. After I told him what I thought, he kept me trapped here in the palace. It wasn't until you stormed the palace today that my guards finally left me alone.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear things have been so bad for you, but hopefully we can bring an end to it soon. If I don't make it, the people of this desert will need a strong leader like you. Stay safe until this is over. Nubia nodded and ran off to hide. It was go time. I climbed the stairs and saw the pharaoh waiting for me.
So, you think having a beard makes you a man? Please, you're just the same little boy I banished into the desert.
Don't bring my beard into this. You must let my people go.
You can ruin my water and fill the streets with as many frogs as you want, but I will never let them be free.
Just then, the pharaoh stepped forward and activated the special item. There was a burst of fire, and he transformed into a giant Egyptian monster.
How do you like this?
I was surrounded by a ring of fire and was suddenly hit by a bunch of lightning. Oh, to be honest, I didn't really like it. I couldn't wait any longer, so I ran forward and attacked. The pharaoh hit me back, which nearly ended me in one hit. Looks like it's time for plan B. I turned and ran down the stairs and out of the palace.
What's wrong? Too afraid to fight?
Hugo was waiting for me, and I hurried and jumped on his back as the pharaoh and his men chased after us. They were close to catching up, but we managed to stay ahead as we ran out of the city. Once we were out, Hugo really put on the speed, and we got far ahead. There was a dried riverbed, which we quickly ran across. As we reached the other side, I turned to see the pharaoh and his army stop on the other side. Don't try to follow me or recapture the people. If you do, I'll have no choice but to destroy you.
Destroy me? Destroy me? I don't think you're in any position to tell me what to do.
The pharaoh and his army entered the riverbed, but I was ready to do my secret plan. I turned and hit a nearby button. The sound of explosions could be heard in the distance. The villagers had put TNT by the dam, which was holding back the water.
No, it can't be!
The water came rushing in, covering the pharaoh and his army. It looks like the plan worked. There's no way he's going to be able to escape all of that. Just then, I heard a splash behind me, and the pharaoh came rising out of the water.
You may have destroyed my army, but I won't go down that easy.
The river was my last plan. How was I going to defeat him now? On day 99, the pharaoh stood on the riverbank, looking down at me.
Enough of these games. I won't have a little bearded man boy ruin everything I have worked so hard to build.
My mind was racing. What could I do? Just then, I remembered the note I found in the old man's cave. You had the power with you the whole time. It couldn't be that simple, could it? Suddenly, a burst of lightning hit me, destroying all of my armor.
What are you waiting for? I'm here to end this now.
I looked at the staff I had carried with me. The staff had been with me the whole time. Now that I was a grown man with new power, I gave the cane a shake. There was a burst of light, and I grew into a massive, super buff version of myself.
What? Where is this power coming from?
I felt amazing. I knew that I was going to be able to fulfill my destiny. Just then, a ring of fire appeared, and the pharaoh hit me with lightning. It was on. The pharaoh and I swung our weapons, doing our best to get hits in. He was strong, but so was I.
You may be bigger, but I still have my lightning.
The pharaoh kept trying to hit me with lightning, but with my new abilities, I was able to dodge it. I couldn't dodge it every time, but it was clear he was running out of ideas. It was time to end this. This one is for my people. I leapt into the air and struck the pharaoh, which caused him to begin exploding. Soon, he disappeared. With the pharaoh gone, I focused my energy and returned back to my normal size. It was time to return to my people. On day 100, the world was finally free of the pharaoh's influence. I traveled to the city to meet with Nubia, who is now the ruler of the city. She was a nice ruler who let the people live freely, whether in the city or not. And she always made sure everyone was paid for their hard work. Our small village continued to grow, and I remained with those who chose to live there. Peace had been restored, and everyone could freely live their lives. On day 1, I spawned in as a baby goat. Oh, I'm a tiny little goat. And ooh, look how high I can jump. Let's see how fast I can climb this hill. I hopped on over, and that's when I realized I could climb the sides of the hills too. Oh yeah, look at me go. I was feeling pretty good about myself, hip-hopping around, when I was suddenly attacked by a raptor. A dinosaur? What century is this? I didn't have time to worry about that though, because I only had 4 hearts. The problem was, I had nowhere to run. That's when I noticed I had some sort of special ability. Headbutt. Alright, I'll give it a try. I swung my head and sent the raptor flying straight off the cliff. Sayonara! I headed down the hill. What was a dinosaur doing around here? Suddenly there was a rustling up ahead, and a whole pack of raptors were coming right at me. More of them? I don't think I can take on a whole pack. They were closing in fast, so I jumped up the side of the hill and started to climb. They couldn't follow me straight up the side of a cliff. Better luck next time, boys. The raptor snarled at me and left. I kept watch for the rest of the day. Who knew if those raptors would attack again? On day 2, I headed down off the cliff. I had to be careful, just in case there were any any dinosaurs lurking around. Just then, I heard a cry out in the distance.
Help!
I rushed off toward the sound and saw a little baby goat getting attacked by a couple of foxes. Hang on, buddy. I charged at the foxes with my head, knocking them back. No one was going to be picking on any goats today. They weren't very tough, and I was able to knock them both out.
That was a close one.
No problem. What's your name?
You can call me Billy.
That makes sense. Come on, Billy. I know a spot that's safe from all the meanies out here. Billy and I headed back over to my little cave, climbing up the mountain. This will be a safe place for us to stay for the night, but I think we can make it a little nicer. I ran outside and cut down some wood, then used it to make a crafting table. Then I used the crafting table to make a wooden axe. Now I can get all the wood I need. After I'd collected all the wood I needed, I started clearing out the cave, filling it with a nice wood floor. Then I added all the things Billy and I would need for a good starter base. Hopefully nothing would attack us in the night. On day 3, Billy and I had decided we would look for supplies, but first, I needed to make some stone tools. Using my crafting table, I made all the tools we could possibly need. Hopefully we could find a good food source. All right, Billy, let's get out there and see what we can find. While we were looking for any resources that might help, we were mostly hoping to find food because we knew we would be getting hungry sooner rather than later. Luckily for us, we soon saw a farm in the distance. Okay, I don't see anyone. If we're really sneaky, we can probably take just a little bit without getting caught. Billy and I got right to harvesting, collecting as much food as we could.
Why, hello over there.
Uh-oh, it was the farmer. We had to get out of there.
Wait, hang on a moment. I don't mind if you eat my crops. In fact, eat as much as you want.
Really? No one has ever been this nice to us.
Yes, well, there aren't very many friendly animals around here these days. Something dangerous out there seems to be making them disappear.
Well, if I had to guess, I'd say it's the dinosaurs taking them all out.
Dinosaurs? Huh. Well, I suppose that must be it. If that's the case, why don't you two stay in my barn for safety?
We agreed and followed him into his barn. There were some nice hay bales to lay on. I was a little unsure because our cave seemed pretty safe, but at least there was food and someone to look out for us. The sun set, and we put our heads down for the night. On days 4 through 5, Billy and I woke up in the back of the cart, pulled by the farmer. Hey, what's going on? The farmer didn't respond and kept looking ahead. That's when I realized we were all tied up and couldn't move. Where are you taking us? The farmer continued to ignore me. After a little while longer, we arrived at a small clearing. The farmer took us out and tied us to a post. Without saying a word, he got back on his horse and left. I've got a bad feeling about this. Just then, I heard a stick break and saw a pack of raptors walking toward us. We had no way to run. It looks like it's the end for us, Billy. Suddenly, the ground began to shake and there was the sound of heavy thuds. The raptors ran away. What's going on? Is it an earthquake? It was worse. A huge T-Rex came stomping around the corner, and he had on some kind of weird-looking hat.
Aha! My dinner is served. You look delicious.
This dinosaur could talk. We had to escape. The T-Rex lunged at us, but we jumped out of the way, causing him to break our rope instead. Hurry, Billy, run! We took off into the woods. Hopefully we could escape. On days 6 through 8, we were still running for our lives. The T-Rex was hot on our tails. As we came through a thick section of trees, we managed to slip through, leaving the T-Rex behind them. I think we lost him. It was wishful thinking though, as he came stomping around the other side of the trees. Our chase soon led us to a river, and I hurried and swam across. Billy was still just a baby though, and his tiny legs couldn't swim very fast.
It's okay, Zozo. Save yourself.
Keep swimming, Billy. I won't leave you behind.
Ugh, I hate getting wet.
The T-Rex was so close, and I wasn't sure if he would make it. But at the last moment, he jumped onto shore, and we continued to run. We soon came bursting out of the forest, running across an open plain. Billy kept falling into small ponds, which was always a close call. Let's go, Billy. Maybe we can lose him in the trees. We ran into a purple forest, but it was no use. The T-Rex was still right behind us. Man, this guy must be really hungry. Come on, I have an idea. We circled back into the forest from before, and I headed toward a ravine I had seen earlier. A large tree had fallen across it, so Billy and I hurried and ran across. Before the T-Rex could cross though, I quickly cut the log, stopping him in his tracks.
Nah, you silly goats. You got away this time, but no one can outsmart me now. I'll find you soon enough.
The T-Rex turned and ran off. How are we going to survive now? On days 9 through 10, Billy and I were running back to the base as fast as we could. It didn't feel like there was anyone out here that we could trust. Soon, we had arrived back at our cliffside base. Well, Billy, looks like this is going to be our home for the future. Let's fix it up. I got right to work, making our base even cooler than before. I cleared out even more space than before and lined the inside with lots of wood. I also gave us all the equipment we'd need: beds, furnaces, and crafting tables. As far as I knew, we were the only animals that could climb up steep cliffs, so no one else was going to be climbing into our base. So check it out. What do you think of the base? What part do you like the best? With the base completed, I decided to head over to some nearby caves to mine some iron. Luckily, I was able to quickly find some, so I mined it out. I also found some coal, which I was going to need to smelt the iron. I hurried back to the base and got right to work, smelting down all of the iron ore into iron ingots. I then used those to make myself a full set of iron armor, and also used them to make an iron sword, a pickaxe, axe, shovel, and hoe. This is all going to be good for me, but I think Billy is going to need some armor too. With some of the leftover iron, I made Billy some of his own goat armor. He's gonna love this. I brought it down to his base and tossed it out to him. He could barely contain his excitement. We're ready for anything now. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get that farmer back. On days 11 to 12, I left the base to go get that farmer. He was going to have a lot of explaining to do for leaving us tied to a post as dinosaur dinner. As I was making my way through the forest, I heard a howl and was suddenly attacked by a pack of wolves. Why is everyone here so mean to me? I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe. It's a good thing I had just upgraded my gear though, as I was able to defeat the wolves with no trouble at all. Soon, I was back at the farm and noticed it looked abandoned. Where is that farmer? Don't tell me he's hiding. I then checked the farmhouse and saw the farmer inside, packing his bags. What did you think you were doing, leaving us to be eaten like that? I hit the farmer and he started to fight back. He clearly wasn't ready for a fight though.
Hang on just a second there. Please don't hurt me.
And why wouldn't I? You weren't very nice to me.
Okay, let me explain.
Start talking, Slick. What's up with the T-Rex?
That T-Rex is crazy. I don't know how he got here in our time or how he learned to talk, but he's been forcing me to feed him all my animals. If I didn't give him more, he was gonna eat me. I decided I couldn't do it anymore though, and I was gonna flee. Time to start myself a vegetable garden somewhere peaceful. I promise, I'm not a danger to anyone.
I could tell he was sorry for what he had done, so even though I was still upset, I decided to forgive him and let him go. I left as he planted some vegetables I could use later. The farmer was no longer a threat, but what was I going to do about this T-Rex? On days 13 to 15, I arrived back at our base and headed up to Billy's room. When I entered, I barely recognized the place. Whoa, Billy, you've got a lot of work done. Your room looks awesome.
Thanks, Zozo. I also thought it'd be fun if we built a special statue. Here, take this wool. I'll show you what to do.
Billy and I headed out and got started on the statue. Billy was really excited about what we were building, and I thought it was coming along great. At least, as far as I could tell, it was pretty great. We soon finished the first part. Can you tell what we're building? I'm not really sure quite yet. I jumped down from the statue, and as I was walking, I was attacked by a bunch of spiders. Oh look, another mob who wants to hurt me. Stay back, you punks. These guys weren't very tough, and I managed to take them out in just a few hits. Uh-oh, I can hear some more spiders in that cave. I better take them out too. I entered the cave, and sure enough, there were more spiders. One of these spiders was different though, and had blue eyes. The spiders were pretty mad at me, and they hurt a lot. But if I could survive a T-Rex attacking me, I could fight these guys off too. I managed to beat them both down. When the blue-eyed guy disappeared, he left behind something interesting. Poisonous essence. I'm not sure what I'll do with this, but I'll have to hang on to it for now. Just then, I heard more spider noises echoing from the cave. I headed in deeper. What kind of monster would be waiting for me? On days 16 to 19, I was making my way deeper into the cave when I came across a bunch of brown terracotta. I don't know what all of this is doing down here, but Billy said we'd need it for the statue. I eagerly mined up all of the terracotta. Who knew when we'd be able to find more? As I scooped up the rest of the terracotta, I heard those spider noises again. Well, let's go down a little deeper, just to take a look. I soon arrived at the very bottom of a deep cave that was full of spider webs. I turned around and saw there was a huge spider on the ceiling. Okay, just stay calm, don't panic. Suddenly, the spider attacked. Spiders! Why did it have to be spiders? This big hairy beast did a lot of damage, and I wasn't sure if I was going to survive. If I could get the right hits in, I just might make it. I swung my sword as hard as I could and finally was able to take it down. Just then, I felt my strength begin to grow, and I leveled up into a bigger goat, and I've gained 4 more hearts. I took a closer look at my headbutt ability and noticed I had an even stronger knockback power, and I could jump higher too. I hurried back to my house. I had an idea of what I could do with the poisonous essence. I walked back up to my crafting table, and by combining the essence with my iron sword, I crafted a spider sword. Tomorrow, I'm heading off to find the T-Rex. On days 20 to 22, I left my base to go find the T-Rex. I wasn't quite ready to fight him, but surely he had a base somewhere. If I could find his base, maybe I could find a way to defeat him. As I walked across the land, I heard a noise up in the distance.
Oh, you wild raptors, get away from me.
The group of raptors were attacking what looked to be a scientist. He needed my help. Watch out, I'm coming in. I leapt into action and started to fight off the raptors. I was stronger and had better gear, so these raptors didn't know what hit them. They were a feisty bunch, but I was able to knock them all out.
Oh my goodness, aren't you just a marvelous little animal?
Oh, well thanks. Who are you and what are you doing all the way out here? There's all kinds of strange things going on.
The name's Faraday, and yes, I am aware of these things. They are actually all my fault.
Your fault? What do you mean? The scientist began to explain.
You see, I'm not actually from this time. I am from the future. I invented a time machine helmet that let me travel all the way back to dinosaur times. I ran across the land. I felt so cool knowing that I was the first human to ever step foot on the land. Later that day, though, I sat down to rest, and a little raptor came and scooped my helmet onto his head. This wouldn't have been the biggest problem, but that T-Rex came along, flipped the raptor into the air, and the helmet landed on his head. Thing is though, my helmet also makes the user smarter, which is why the T-Rex can talk. I had an old prototype helmet that I used to chase the T-Rex through time, but it broke when we got to this present. Luckily, the T-Rex seems pretty happy to be here since there is plenty of easy food for him.
Wow, that is not the story I was expecting to hear when I woke up today. So what can we do to get the helmet back?
I have some ideas, but I haven't been able to test any of them out yet. That T-Rex's sidekicks keep attacking me. He must have brought them through time with him.
Well, we've got a safe base built into a hill. How about you come live with us? You can do your research in peace there.
That would be terrific.
On days 23 to 26, I got right to work, building Faraday a lab at our base. There was all kind of technology that he wanted added, and it took a lot of hard work to get it right. But in the end, I was able to make him everything he would need to continue doing research. When it was complete, Faraday went and took a look around to make sure everything was in working order. Later on, I hopped in the elevator and took it for a ride myself. It was kind of fun riding in the elevator and getting to look out the window, but I'd still rather climb up the side of cliffs. I met Faraday in the front of the lab, and he told me how happy he was to finally get started. It was going to take some time for him to figure things out, but he said I should make sure I upgrade my gear for when we finally face off against the T-Rex. On days 27 to 31, I decided that I could use some more upgrades that could keep me safe from attack. Faraday told me there was a special item I could get from bears that could help me with this. Bears are super scary. I sure hope nothing goes wrong as I do this. I headed to a nearby forest and soon saw a small group of bears. With my spider sword in hand, I attacked. Very nice to meet you, sir. The bear didn't seem very happy to meet me and swung at me with their heavy claws. They were pretty tough, and it was a hard fight, but in the end, I was able to take him out. There were a couple of other bears nearby too, which I was able to quickly defeat without too much trouble. That's when I saw one of them had dropped what I was looking for. Oh look, steadfast spikes. This makes it harder for bad guys to knock me back. Awesome! I then noticed there were some fruit trees nearby, so I ran through the trees and collected as much fruit as I could. Fruits are the best. I always try to eat them when I can. After I collected the fruits, I decided to do some exploring. As I crossed an empty field, I saw a small house in the distance. Let's see who lives here. I knocked on the door and a raccoon was inside.
Who's out there?
Hi, I just wanted to see who lived here and make sure you knew about the T-Rex running around.
A T-Rex? Big deal. I have a bigger problem.
A bigger problem? What could that be?
My magic coal was stolen.
Your what?
My magic coal. It's the best thing I've ever found.
Do you mean stole?
How I got it isn't important. Do you think you can help me or not?
Sure, I'll help. The raccoon explained that a coyote had grabbed it off his doorstep when he wasn't looking and told me where to go to find him. I nodded and headed off for the camp. On days 32 to 35, I soon arrived at the coyote's base. This place is way bigger than the raccoon made it sound. I walked in and was immediately attacked by a pack of wolves. Relax, guys, I'm just looking for a piece of coal. The wolves didn't care and continued to attack. With my attacks, I was able to defeat them before they could do too much damage. Now, where could this magic coal be? What does that even look like? I kept looking through the base, fighting off the occasional wolf here and there. Eventually, I reached the top of the base as I finished up the rest of the wolves.
Hey, who do you think you are coming into my house and messing with my guards?
I'm here for Mr. Raccoon. You stole something of his and I'm here to get it back.
That little raccoon is such a loser. He just gets stuff out of the trash. He's weird, so I like being mean to him.
Well, that's no way to treat someone for being different. The coyote and I started to fight. This guy was so mean. It's not okay to talk about people like that. By using my spider sword, I was able to poison him, which was bringing down his health. You're not as tough as you think you are. The coyote and I kept going at each other until at long last, I hit him with the final blow and took him out. That's when I saw he had dropped the magic coal. I don't know what's so special about this, but I better get it back to that raccoon. With the coal in my pocket, I hurried out of the base and headed back toward the raccoon's house. On days 36 to 39, I arrived back at the raccoon's house with his magic coal. After he came out of his house, I tossed it over to him.
Woo, my magic coal. I'm so happy to see it again. Thank you.
No problem. I'm just happy I could help.
You have done the greatest thing for me. Here, I have something that you might be interested in.
The raccoon threw out an interesting looking piece of tech.
I don't know what it's for, but maybe that scientist friend of yours could use it. By the way, I get around these parts quite a bit, so if you're ever in need of information, let me know. I can probably help.
I thanked him and turned to head back to the base. I wondered if Faraday would know something about this tech. On days 40 to 43, I arrived back to the base and headed up and into the science lab. I saw Faraday working in his lab and knocked on the window.
Zozo, it's been a while. How are things going?
Really good. While I was out exploring, I came across this strange piece of tech. Do you know anything about it?
My Lanta, that's part of the teleportation helmet the T-Rex has. Without this, he's not able to travel through time.
Well, that's good, right? It means we have a chance to stop him before he can ruin other timelines.
Precisely. I've been doing some research of my own. Let me check my notes here.
Faraday went over to his computers and printed out some notes.
Yes, I am able to make the needed repairs, but there's a special element I need to do them.
That sounds easy enough. Do you know where I can get them?
I do, but the catch is that you have to defeat a rather nasty mob to get it.
Faraday went on to explain where I needed to go to find them. Hopefully it's not too much of a fight. On days 44 to 49, I headed into the mystical forest Faraday had told me about. As I got closer, I was suddenly attacked by a heavy creeper. Whoa, slow down there, buddy. I swung at him and managed to knock him out. It looked like he had dropped something, which I picked up. Creeper shards. Was this what Faraday was looking for? I better keep looking around. I kept going through the forest when suddenly a bunch of the creepers began attacking me and exploding. Keep it together, guys. Jeez. I managed to fight my way through the explosions with my ears ringing in my head. I soon stumbled upon a cave. Okay, he did mention it might be in a cave. I'll take a look. I headed into the cave and was attacked by a couple of spiders. I hit them with my spider sword. How do you like a taste of your own medicine? The spiders were soon destroyed and I continued down the cave. It kept going deeper and deeper until I saw something terrifying ahead. Okay, this has got to be it. What is this thing? The earth golem made a terrible sound as it tried to hit me. He definitely didn't like me stomping around in his cave. With his giant arms, he knocked me down to half a heart. My spider sword had poisoned him, and I was able to land the final blow. Yes, I got him! As he disappeared, I noticed that he dropped something. This looks like some kind of strange display. This must be what Faraday is after. Just then, I felt that familiar power flow into me, and I turned into a bigger and stronger goat. Looks like I've got 13 hearts now, too. While I was down there, I also got to work mining out the diamonds in the wall. No wonder this guy didn't want anyone down here. It was filled with good stuff. That should be everything. Let's get this back to Faraday and see what he can do with it. On days 50 to 53, I returned back to the base and headed into the lab. Faraday was hard at work and was very excited to see that I had made it back. I believe this is what you were searching for?
Oh, Zozo, you beautiful being. This is going to work perfect.
I was feeling pretty good about myself, so I tossed in the creeper shards as well. And what do you think of this?
Zozo, this is a ground creeper toenail. Please, never give this to me again.
Oh, my bad. Faraday said it would take him a few days to get the next project put together, so I headed back up to the base to craft some diamond armor. I decided I could use a full set of armor, so I made that. Then I went ahead and made an entire set of tools. I always felt a little bit more safe after making new diamond gear. With my armor upgraded, I headed outside to go and do some more work on the statue. I had the terracotta I had collected before, so I wanted to make some good progress. So what do you think about the second part? Think you can still guess what it's going to be? I then headed back over to my base. This place could use some more improvements. I decided I wanted to add another level atop the cliff. We hadn't been attacked by any mobs, and I was pretty sure nothing was going to get to us. I was pretty proud of what I was able to build, and thought it looked really cool. This is a nice house, but it is pretty big. I think I should go get Mr. Raccoon and invite him to live here. It's not safe out there. On days 54 to 57, I was heading across the field when I saw that the raccoon's house had been destroyed. As I got closer, I saw him lying in the center of his destroyed house. He was clearly hurt. Oh no, who did this to you?
It was those raptors. I guess some of the wolves told them I sent you to get my magic coal back from the coyote, and they attacked me without warning.
I'm sorry. I can't help feeling like this is all my fault. Surely I can get you something to save you.
It's too late. They took everything I have. And don't worry, it's not your fault. Thanks for being the nice one who was willing to stand up for me.
And just like that, the raccoon fell over and disappeared. But before I could do anything else, I heard someone come up behind me.
Well, look who it is, boys.
You have a time-traveling helmet. How?
The big boss man made it for me. He's real smart now and is good with all them technologies. Speaking of which, we know you're hiding that little science man. Hand him over and we'll let you little goats live.
Why would I let you guys have him? You're just going to hurt him or try to get him to make more helmets.
We don't need him to make more helmets. Mr. Rex is gonna make all of us our own. Then you won't be able to do nothing.
You can make as many helmets as you want, but if there's no one to wear them, that's not gonna do you much good, is it?
Well, what do you mean, no one to wear them? Can't you see all my boys here?
All that technology on your head and you're still not very smart, are you? I jumped forward and swung at the raptor, knocking him back. There were a lot of them, but I couldn't let them get away with everything. They hurt my friend, and they wanted to hurt everyone else I knew. You guys are gonna pay for what you've done. I managed to knock out all of the raptors one by one until only the leader was left.
Boy, you're crazy. I'm getting out of here.
Get back here, you coward! I chased the raptor into the forest, but unfortunately he managed to get away in the trees. I had to hurry back to Faraday. We were running out of time. On days 58 to 62, I returned back to the base and headed for the lab. I knocked on the window, and Faraday came out to meet me.
Zozo, what is it? You look worried.
The T-Rex has figured out how to make his own helmets and is trying to give them to a whole army of raptors. That, and they hurt one of my new friends.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear it. I do have some good news for you though. I haven't got the time travel fixed yet, but I built a tracker into this helmet that will lead you to anyone who has a helmet of their own. Perhaps now we may be able to find their base and hit them where it hurts.
I put the helmet on and started it up. Right away I could see a map. that showed several X's on it. They must have split up. This is going to be a massive help in our hunt to track them down. Just then, Billy came walking up to us.
Zozo, I think you should go for the raptor first. Then we can focus on the T-Rex. Those raptors could be out there, hurting even more innocent animals.
That's a good point. Plus, it'll be easier to take down the T-Rex if his sidekicks are gone. I'm on it. On days 63 to 66, I decided that if I was going to fight the raptor, I needed to beef up my gear. I had nearly defeated him last time, so he'd be stronger when we met next. I headed across the land to a lavender field to get what I needed. Rumor says there's alexandrite ore here, which is even stronger than diamonds. I headed into the field and soon found some alexandrite ore. I mined it up as fast as I could. I couldn't believe I found it so quickly. With my pockets full of ores, I took a look around and saw a big sign on a hill. Oh, that reminds me, don't forget to sub to the channel, otherwise you'll miss our next adventure together. Sometime later, I had arrived back at the base and headed over to the crafting table. With the new ore, I was able to make myself a new helmet, chestplate, leggings, and boots. I went ahead and equipped everything. Let's get that tracking system booted up and take down that raptor. On day 67 to 70, I stepped outside my house and booted up the tracker. Okay, I can see 2 X's on the map. Looks like they're still separated. This one looks a little closer to the raccoon's place, so I'm guessing that's the raptor. I headed down from my base and off into the forest. The X was still pretty far away, so I made sure to stop and check every now and then. Oh, it looked like it moved. I better hurry so I can catch up to them. I kept going in the direction of the X, passing through some pretty impressive landscapes. It was too bad there were so many mean dinosaurs about because the land was really beautiful. I stopped and checked my map one more time. Okay, it looks like I'm pretty close and that they might be in some kind of structure. It must be their base. I kept making my way there when suddenly I saw a fortress off in the distance. I could see a bunch of raptors roaming around and a lot of them had helmets on. Uh-oh, looks like they've made more helmets. I better get in there and fast. On days 71 to 74, I charged up to the base and attacked the guards. They had helmets of their own, but they didn't seem to be very smart. The T-Rex clearly wasn't very good at making them yet. I defeated the guards and headed into the base. There were even more raptors in here. Where's your leader? I cut through the raptors using my spider sword and other attacks. They didn't stand a chance. I had to hurry though. If they figured out how to make the helmets perfectly, we'd be in a world of hurt. I'd finally taken out all of the raptors in the courtyard when I noticed they had a storage shed nearby. I started opening the different containers to see if they had anything good. I grabbed some of their supplies, but also saw there were some raptor teeth nearby. Oh, I know just the thing I can make with this. Using the crafting table, I managed to make a raptor tooth sword. Let's see how they like fighting against themselves. On day 75 to 78, I went to go find the raptor leader when he jumped out and hit me. Ouch! Get back here! I chased him into the base and down a long flight of stairs. We soon reached an open room.
Who do you think you are? One single goat trying to take down a whole base of raptors? This ends here. Get 'em, boys!
Suddenly, all the raptors in the room started to attack. This guy was no leader. He just wanted to make everyone do his dirty work for him. You'd think with all these smart helmets, you guys would actually have some kind of strategy for this fight. The raptors were swarming in on me, but I was able to keep them back, using all of my weapons. Their leader watched as I finished taking out all of his henchmen. Why don't you come down here and fight me yourself? Or are you too scared?
Scared? Ain't nobody calling me scared.
The raptor leader jumped forward and started swinging. It turns out he was actually pretty tough. I had learned a lot through all of my fights though, and nothing was going to make me back down. He had to pay for what he did to my raccoon friend. I hit him as hard as I could and could see he would soon be defeated.
Heh, it doesn't matter that you beat me. You'll never beat Mr. Rex. He's gonna fix the time machine soon, and then there'll be hundreds of raptors and other dinosaurs here. You won't stand a chance.
And just like that, he was defeated. He was right though. If we don't stop the T-Rex, we're all gonna be someone's dinner. On day 79 to 84, I was heading back to my base when I saw a nearby cave. It wouldn't hurt to get some more resources, so let's see what we can find. As I approached the cave, I was suddenly attacked by a bunch of mushroom pigs. I should have known I would run into something like you here. I quickly knocked them out and headed into the cave, fighting some more mushroom pigs along the way. They weren't very strong. There were a lot of them. That's when I noticed there was a bunch of redstone in here. I'm not sure what I can use this for yet, but maybe there's some kind of creative build Faraday can make with it. I continued into the cave, collecting as much redstone as I could find. There were also a bunch of mushroom pigs, which I quickly knocked out of the way. At the very end of the cave, there was a room filled with an insane amount of redstone. Oh yeah, if I ever need more, I know just where to get it. I headed back out of the cave toward my base. I needed to talk to Faraday. Hopefully he had made some progress on the helmet. On days 85 to 89, I had arrived back at the base and headed down into the lab. I gave Faraday a knock on the window and he came out to meet me. I told him all about what had happened with the raptors and how the T-Rex was starting to make even more helmets.
Yes, that is very concerning. I have been working on some updates as well, though. Let me show you.
While you look for that, I also collected some redstone. Maybe it can help. I tossed out the redstone I had gathered when suddenly there was a crackling sound coming from Faraday's pocket.
What's this? The substance seems to be reacting with the updated helmet I made.
The redstone? That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Ah, redstone is what you call it. This material must have disappeared before my time. Are you able to get more of this? I have an idea.
Oh yeah, I can definitely get more. I'll be right back. On days 90 to 94, I headed back to the redstone cave. He said he needed more, I'll get him more. I got right to work, mining out a bunch of the redstone. There was no way this wouldn't be enough. It took a long time, but I finally gathered up all the redstone we would need. Soon I was back in the lab and gave Faraday a knock on the window. As always, he was excited to meet me.
You've brought me more redstone, I presume?
Oh yeah, this should be more than enough to do whatever you're thinking. I tossed all the redstone I had gathered on over to him.
Excellent. Here's the upgraded helmet. This blue shield on top should protect you from the effects of the redstone.
Faraday then tossed out a bunch of redstone power balls.
Now that we've combined these with the redstone, they'll pack a powerful punch against anyone wearing a helmet. In fact, it should disable it, at least for a moment.
That'll be awesome. This is going to be a lifesaver, I'm sure.
Ah yes, speaking of which, there is a special strength ability I've programmed in it as well, but it will only work once, so be sure to only use it when you really need it.
I nodded and thanked him for all of his hard work. It's a good thing he got trapped in our time too. Otherwise, we'd never get out of this mess. On days 95 to 97, I decided I should upgrade the base one more time before heading out to face the T-Rex. Billy was still young and I wanted to make sure he had a safe place to live, just in case things went sideways. Once I had expanded the base a little more, I grabbed Billy and we went outside to work on the last part of the statue. This was a tough one to build, but I think it looks really cool. It would certainly scare off anyone who thinks that they're tougher than us, that is. Soon, we had completed the statue. I was pretty proud of everything we had built so far. I still had a lot of ideas for the future though. What part of the builds were your favorite? On day 98, I stepped outside the base to have a chat with Billy. All right, Billy, I'm headed off to fight the T-Rex. Hopefully, I'll see you soon.
Good luck, Zozo. But before you go, there was something I wanted to say.
That sounds important. What is it?
I just think that everyone needs to subscribe. Otherwise, we'll never win.
Oh, that is important. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, as that will give us the strength to win the fight. Billy headed back inside, and I booted up the tracking system. All right, I can see him on the map. It's showtime. I headed off in the direction of the T-Rex. It was now or never. On day 99, I had made it to the edge of the T-Rex's base. He definitely couldn't have built a base like this without some intelligence. This guy isn't going to be like the Raptors. This guy's for real. I made my way closer and took a look up at the tower. There's no time to waste. I'm coming for you, Rexy. I charged into the base and entered the inside of the tower where the T-Rex was waiting for me.
I've been waiting for you, Zozo.
That sounds kind of awkward, just standing here, alone, in a tower, waiting for me.
Nah, I don't have time for your nonsense. Obviously, I've been doing other things.
Oh yeah? Like what? Being sad I took out all of your friends?
My friends, please. There were more dinosaurs here too, but I got hungry.
You ate all of the other dinosaurs? You truly are a monster.
Say what you want, but it doesn't matter. This helmet is nearly fully operational. I can bring dinosaurs in anytime I want. And soon, I'll be able to jump time myself.
That wasn't good to hear. I had to hurry and take action before you could do anything else. If you think you're so tough, you'll have to get through me first.
That's the idea.
The T-Rex lunged at me and we started to fight. If I was going to save the future, the time to do so was now. The T-Rex lived up to his reputation, hitting me with some hard hits. It hurt, and my health was dropping fast. Oh, I can't let this guy keep getting these hits on me. I'm not gonna last long like this. I refocused and started to get in some more hits of my own. I think he was really surprised by how strong I was, especially when I would hit him with my headbutt.
You think you can defeat me? Let me show you what real power is.
Suddenly, 2 portals opened up and more dinosaurs came flying in. No, not the time travel! These dinosaurs were insane! I swung my sword and managed to take them out, but soon there were even more coming in.
Don't you see? You can take down as many dinosaurs as you want, but I will always have the upper hand.
He was right. I couldn't keep fighting off time-traveling dinosaurs forever. What could I do? Oh, wait a second. What am I doing? If I want to stop the time travel, I need to disable his helmet. I reached for the power balls Faraday had given me and started to throw them. As they hit the T-Rex, I could see his helmet start to spark as he ran around in circles.
Oh, what is going on?
This is it. I've got to use that one-time strength boost. If there was ever a time I needed it, it's now. I clicked the button on my helmet and I started to grow. I even gained more hearts. I was big enough to truly take him on now. This feels amazing. Now I really am the GOAT. I charged at the T-Rex and landed a hit on him, just as the sparking effects were wearing off.
What the? How did you get so big?
The T-Rex started to spawn in more dinosaurs, but it didn't matter. I quickly cut them down and kept hitting the T-Rex. This is for all the animals you hurt. I could tell I was really hurting him, but he was hurting me too. It was only a matter of time before one of us fell. Who was it going to be? Just then, I delivered the final blow, and the T-Rex disappeared, dropping his helmet. I don't believe it. He's gone. But I better hurry. Faraday needs this helmet. On day 100, I returned back to my base. This time, Faraday came out to meet me.
Zozo, you're back. You must have done it.
I did, and I couldn't have done it without your help. Here, let me give you the helmet back.
You know, why don't you hang on to it? I just need this one component. You never know. Something might come up again when I need your help in the future.
You never know what's going to happen, but I'm glad that today was a success. In the meantime, I'll be here, ready for when adventure calls. On day 1, I spawned in as a noob dragon, with a gang of angry villagers surrounding me.
Hey look, another dragon! We better get that nasty beast before it gets us!
What? Mister, I just got here. I don't want to get anyone.
More draconic lies! You're not gonna pull one over on us! Let's get him, boys!
The gang of villagers all started to chase me across the valley. I didn't understand why they were so angry at me. I was just a baby noob dragon. I only had 5 hearts. Luckily, I was still pretty fast for being a scaly noob, and I managed to outrun them, reaching the aspen forest and leaving all those villagers to eat my dust. With them gone, for now at least, I took a moment to rest amongst the trees and catch my breath. Oi, these guys sure know how to roll out the welcome wagon. I have no idea why dragons have such a terrible reputation around here. And I didn't get much pondering time. Before I could pick myself back up and run off, I was surrounded by those same villagers again. They caught up with me and emerged from between the trees, completely surrounding me.
Tag him and bag him, boys. One less dragon out here makes our villages just that little bit safer.
On day 2, after the villagers captured me, they took me straight to dragon jail and threw me into my cell. They didn't even take time to hear me out. What about due process? Don't I have a right to a trial?
Those are human rights, noob dragon, and you're not human.
Darn it! At least I wasn't alone in my cell. There was also a bored-looking Komodo dragon lounging around. I was happy to have someone in the same boat that I could talk to. Hey, I'm Zozo. All those villagers captured me pretty much as soon as I arrived, just because I'm a dragon. I don't understand.
Nice to meet you, Zozo. I'm Carl, Komodo Carl. I've given up on trying to understand why the humans do what they do. I'm not even a real dragon. I'm just a Komodo dragon. I can't even breathe fire.
Breathe fire? Wait, Carl, you're a genius!
I am? Thank you. I'm happy to finally have my genius recognized.
I turned to the door of my cell, summoned up all of my might, and blasted a fireball at the door. It wasn't all that powerful, but it was powerful enough to at least set us free. Let's go, Carl, before the villagers realize we're gone.
You don't have to tell me twice, buddy.
Carl and I ran out of there, going our separate ways. Now we both at least had a fighting chance out here. On day 3, after escaping from the dragon jail, I fled to somewhere that the villagers would have a lot harder time finding me, the Black Forest. By the time I'd gone deep enough into the forest to feel safe from the villagers, I was so hungry I could barely stand it. I guess using my fireball power and then making a daring escape really works up an appetite. There wasn't a huge amount of food around, but I at least gathered up as many sweet berries as I could, eating some and storing the rest away for safekeeping. Suddenly, a huge shadow passed over. I looked up and saw something amazing. It was a huge, fully grown ender dragon soaring right above me. When she spotted me, she turned herself towards me. I looked so tiny compared to her.
Hello, little one. I didn't expect to see another dragon down here, even a teeny tiny noob dragon such as yourself.
Hi, Miss Ender Dragon. My name's Zozo, and I'm pretty surprised to see you too. People aren't very kind to us dragons around here.
Ah, so you've encountered all the cruel, small-minded humans who are out here threatening to ruin our way of life. You're lucky you escaped with your life.
Wait, you know about all of that? Please tell me more. I'd love to understand everything that's going on here.
You'll understand it all in due time. Fly with me, little one, and I'll take you back to my lair.
So me and the Ender Dragon used our dragon wings to take off into the sky. At least it'd be a lot harder for humans to get us up there. From day 4 to day 5, I flew with the Ender Dragon all the way back to her draconic lair in the wooded Red Rock Mountains. As we flew over, I noticed that there was an unusual number of Endermen wandering around the mountain. I figured they must have been there with the Ender Dragon. We touched down near the top of the mountain, and that's when the Ender Dragon started telling me her story.
You see, Zozo, we dragons once ruled this whole world. The natural home of all dragons is the end, but the end isn't a very vibrant place. Instead, we dragons came here and helped lift up this world to greatness. But some creatures, especially the humans, were ungrateful for everything we did for them. They decided instead to hate us and hunt us to near extinction just because we're the rightful rulers of this world.
That sounds horrible! What can I do to make it all right again, Miss Ender Dragon?
We must reclaim our territory, piece by piece, Zozo. You can start by finding a good place to build a base. Here, take these tools.
The Ender Dragon gave me a set of stone tools, and I flew off again. I searched from the skies until I came across a Guiana shield biome. This seems like a good place to hang my hat. I flew down and started using my stone axe to clear trees and make space for my base. This also gave me enough wood to make a decent start on actually building it too. I took a break from my building to appreciate the scenery when I saw a gang of villagers wandering through the forest, searching for me.
I swear I saw a dragon fly through the sky around here. We need to find it before it does any damage.
But this time, I wasn't going to settle for being captured. I blew another fireball and it exploded right next to them. They scattered immediately after that. Then I leveled up thanks to me using my dragon skills. I had 10 hearts now and I'd gotten bigger. Not as much of a noob now, am I? From day 6 to day 8, I was exploring more of the Guiana shield when I happened upon a sad-looking raccoon wandering through. Hey raccoon, is everything okay? You look a little glum.
Of course I look glum. My home just burnt down. I'm the only one who got out.
Oh no, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. What happened? Was someone being careless with matches?
No, someone else did it, or something. And I know I'm not the only one. There are a lot of incidents like this. Some places getting burned. Some folks are getting poisoned. You better be careful out there.
And with that, the raccoon wandered off. I knew even more now that something horrible was going on out here. But was it something I could fix in less than 100 days? The day after, the Ender Dragon returned, floating in the sky. She had some things to say to me.
Zozo, I'm afraid I have grave news. The humans are working together with some of the other creatures to wipe us dragons out completely. We need to find and crush their resistance movement completely.
But where would we start, Ender Dragon?
I need information first and foremost. Make your way to the Jacaranda forest. I believe there may be some people of interest there. Find out all that you can. And while you're there, if you can find an old chest of mine, I left an echolocator inside. It'll help you find caves.
Without any delay, I set off to the Jacaranda forest. From day 9 to day 10, I flew away from my base and made my way towards the Jacaranda forest, hoping to find some information and, if I was lucky, the Ender Dragon's old chest. I landed in the forest and started searching. Thankfully, it didn't actually take me long to find the chest that the Ender Dragon told me about. Plus, thankfully, there was an angry Crimson Phantom guarding it. The owner of this chest told me I could have what was inside it, sir.
Oh yeah? Well, I don't care. It's my chest now, and if you want it back, you're gonna have to fight me for it.
The fight began, and because I was still technically a real noob dragon, the Crimson Phantom was stronger than me. His attacks were powerful, and he seemed to be good at tanking mine. I pulled out of the fight and tried to collect myself. I was worried the Crimson Phantom was going to attack me until a Phantom Fox ran in and distracted him for me.
Hey, Crimson, don't you know why you shouldn't fight with dragons? You'll get burned.
This was just the distraction I needed to fire a fireball at the Crimson Phantom, destroying him for good. Thanks for the assist, Phantom Fox.
No problem, Noob Dragon.
With the Crimson Phantom gone, I easily searched the chest and grabbed the echolocator. The Phantom Fox was still there, waiting for me.
Say, want to come visit my friend, the Elder Guardian? I think he'd like you.
Sure, he might be able to help me with some information I need. We traveled deeper into the forest until we came upon the Elder Guardian. All three of us sat down to chat, and I asked the Elder Guardian if he knew anything about the human resistance groups.
Resistance groups? Where have you heard of such a thing? I don't know of any resistance groups, just people trying to do their best to survive hard times.
Interesting. I'll report back with that. From day 11 to day 12, I flew from the Jacaranda forest back to the wooded Red Rock Mountains, where the Ender Dragon was waiting for me.
Well, do you have anything to tell me about the resistance groups? Our continued survival depends on it, Zozo.
I spoke to some people, and the funny thing is, nobody seems to know about any resistance groups, just people trying to survive.
Fools! All of them fools! Do I have to do everything myself? Gather up some iron from a cave to create some iron armor, then find a remote village to the south of here. You'll see evidence of the human resistance with your own eyes, since you seem to have so little trust in me.
I had no idea why the Ender Dragon seemed so mean and angry with me all of a sudden, but I figured I still better do what she said. I flew down from the mountain and used the echolocator to find the nearest cave. I headed inside and started mining until I found some iron ore. This would be perfect for armor and tools. But when I left the cave, some angry dread thralls were waiting for me. Can't you guys give me a break? I've been having kind of a rough week. They didn't listen. Instead, they attacked. Luckily for me, it was easy to make short work of them with my fire breath attack. Now I need to go find that remote village. From day 13 to day 15, after searching for a couple of days, I found the remote village that the Ender Dragon told me about. But it seemed so peaceful. It was a small, isolated community guarded by a single iron golem. It didn't even seem bothered by me being there, like the villagers that had first imprisoned me. A lot of what the Ender Dragon told me doesn't seem to add up. Something's wrong. I need to get out of here and find out the truth. From day 16 to day 19, I flew back to the wooded Red Rock Mountains to get some straight answers out of the Ender Dragon, only to find that she wasn't there. This whole situation just keeps getting weirder and weirder. I'm starting to get a little worried, honestly. I flew back to my base, turning this whole thing over in my mind, when I noticed someone was already at my base, waiting for me. It was one of the villagers from that little remote village that the Ender Dragon made me stake out.
Oh gosh, I hope you're a nice dragon, because that evil Ender Dragon is attacking my village, and I need some help.
Wait, the Ender Dragon? Oh no, don't worry, I'll go over there right away. I flew back to the remote village and saw, to my horror, that the villager was right. The Ender Dragon was flying above, destroying everything. I flew in and tried to reason with her. Ender Dragon, why are you doing this? These people aren't part of the resistance.
You gullible fool! You barely deserve to call yourself a dragon. There is no resistance. There are only we dragons and all inferior species. You can either be with me or against me.
I'm not going to let you hurt innocent people, Ender Dragon.
Then you're against me.
The Ender Dragon blew one of her poisonous purple fireballs at me, and everything went black. From day 20 to day 22, I woke up from being knocked out and found that the Ender Dragon was gone. But she'd also destroyed the entire village and left no survivors. Except for one iron golem, who was left without anything to defend.
I feel terrible. It was my duty to defend them, and now they're all gone because of me.
It isn't your fault, Iron Golem. It was the Ender Dragon's fault. Come back to my base with me. We'll work together to defeat the Ender Dragon and avenge everyone she hurt.
Yes, that sounds like the only way that I can bring my heart some peace.
The Iron Golem and I went back to my base. I let him stay in my house and made sure he was happy here.
Thank you, Zozo. This looks like a wonderful place to stay.
And while I was there, I built a smelting furnace where I turned my iron ore into iron ingots, built a few new pieces of armor, and an iron pickaxe. I'm going to use all my might to become an experienced dragon and take down the Ender Dragon for all she's done. From day 23 to day 26, I decided to take my new iron gear out for a spin. If I was going to become a mighty enough dragon to defeat the Ender Dragon, I needed to get to work and explore some new areas. I ventured out to the desert and started looking around. Then I spotted a Vex Piglin attacking a Komodo dragon. Wait a second, I know that Komodo dragon. Komodo Carl, I'll save you.
Zozo, thank goodness. I thought I was a goner.
I rushed over and started attacking the Vex Piglin, but it was really strong. Yikes, this is gonna be a harder fight than I thought. The Vex Piglin knocked me down.
Oh no, Zozo, look out!
Carl, I can't defeat this guy by myself. I need you to help me.
How can I help? I'm just a Komodo dragon. You're the real deal. I couldn't even free myself without your help.
Just trust me. If we work together, we'll be much stronger than we are by ourselves.
I'll give it my best shot.
Komodo Carl jumped in and attacked the Vex Piglin while I was down, attacking him and saving my life. Thanks for your help. See, I knew you were stronger than you thought you were.
Thank you for showing me that and helping me save myself. Hey, let me give you something to say thanks.
He gave me a Komodo dragon spit bottle. Oh, thanks, I guess.
I know it seems gross, but you can use this to make a potion resistance potion. It should help protect you.
Oh, cool! Thanks! From day 27 to day 31, I took a stroll through the beautiful rose fields to catch my breath after that fight with the Vex Piglin. Seeing all those flowers definitely put me in a good mood. While I was stopping to smell the roses, I saw a herd of sheep. They were wandering around and looked pretty lost, so I told them to follow me back to my base. Once we got there, I built a pen for the sheep to live in. Here you go. You guys can stay here as long as you like.
Oh, Zozo, you're back! I'm so glad. I wanted to show you what I did while you were gone.
The Iron Golem showed me some bookshelves he added to the base. Awesome! Thanks! Meanwhile, in the wooded Red Rock Mountains, the Ender Dragon was up to no good, with a frightening Ender Blaze standing by her side.
I'm so glad you see things my way, Ender Blaze. With your help, no one will dare oppose me ever again!
My pleasure. We Ender beings should be in charge of everything, and if you're the one who's gonna make that happen, I'll do anything I can to help.
From day 32 to day 35, I left my base to go explore the Enchanted Forest. I was just taking a casual stroll and looking around when suddenly a group of warped Moscos spotted me.
Oh no, a dragon! Quick, let's get him before he burns down our forest!
They rushed toward me and started attacking me. Hey, wait! I'm not here to burn anything down. I live in this forest too.
That's what the dragon in our last forest said, but he was a liar! I bet you are too!
Wait a second, the Ender Dragon, she lied to me too! It's my mission to defeat her so she can't hurt anyone else.
Really? You promise?
I promise. My name is Zozo, and I'm a nice dragon.
If that's really true, then you should come with us.
I followed them to a warped toad who was sitting under a tree.
Well, I certainly didn't expect you boys to bring me a dragon.
I'm here to help, I swear. My name is Zozo. I don't like the Ender Dragon any more than you do.
Well, as the old saying goes, fight fire with fire. Having a dragon on our side might be the advantage we need to end the Ender Dragon's reign of terror. The Ender Dragon isn't used to battling his own kind, you see. She's tricked most of them into working with her. I'll tell you anything else that I learn and help you however I can, Zozo.
From day 36 to day 39, I decided to work on upgrading my armor. I went down into the mine and started digging for iron. I found enough to craft the rest of the armor I needed, and I even found a couple of diamonds too. I gathered everything and took it back to my base. I used the iron I mined to complete the rest of my set, and when I was finished, I saw a raccoon at the entrance to the base.
Hey, are you Zozo?
That's me.
Oh, good. I heard you're trying to learn more about being a dragon, so you can get strong enough to stop the Ender Dragon, right?
I am. Are you here to give me dragon lessons or something?
Nah, I'm just a raccoon. I could teach you how to find food in the trash, but I think you'd rather talk to my friend. She's a lightning dragon, and she's not too fond of the Ender Dragon either. If you're not busy, you can come with me to meet her.
I'm never too busy to learn. Let's go. From day 40 to day 43, I followed the raccoon to the Araucaria Savannah.
She's really excited to meet you.
Oh geez, but I'm just a noob dragon. I'm still learning.
Yeah, but you were brave enough to stand up to the Ender Dragon. That's a big deal. Here she is.
I saw a huge, tough lightning dragon sunning herself in the middle of the savannah. It sure was a sight to see.
You must be Zozo. I'm so happy to meet you. I know you're looking to get stronger and learn more about being a dragon. I've been a dragon for a pretty long time, so I hope I can help.
That would be awesome! Can you help me get better at breathing fire? Before she could answer, an ender blaze jumped out from behind a tree and landed right in front of us.
Well, look what I found. A couple of traitors working together.
Who the heck are you?
I'm the guy that's gonna teach you a lesson about opposing the Ender Dragon.
The Ender Blaze fired a missile at me, and I just barely managed to dodge it. Help! The Lightning Dragon gave me some of her power to fight the Ender Blaze. I felt myself get bigger and stronger too, but just when we thought we defeated him, he kept attacking.
You've done a great job here today, Zozo, but you need to get out of here. I'll keep this guy busy. Go!
From day 44 to day 49, I flew back to my base. I hope the Lightning Dragon is okay. I didn't have too much time to think about it though, because the warped toad came to see me.
Zozo, I have some news. My research has pointed me to a weapon that I believe will help you defeat the Ender Dragon.
It is a netherite axe, a powerful axe made by combining a diamond axe with netherite ingots.
Oh, I have some diamonds already.
Excellent. And you have the amount of diamonds required to craft a diamond axe?
Well, no, I need to go get more diamonds.
Then hop to it, young dragon. Time is of the essence.
I get it. Hop, like a toad. Very funny.
This is no laughing matter, Zozo. Much is at stake. Good luck.
On the encouragement of the warped toad, I headed down into the mine and started digging for diamonds. Phew, all this mining is hard work, but it'll be worth it when I finally defeat the Ender Dragon. It took a while, but I found some diamonds, enough to make a diamond axe. Now I just need to figure out where I can find a netherite ingot. From day 50 to day 53, I started my quest to find some netherite ingots and build the netherite axe. I ventured out to the crag gardens to see what I could learn. When I got there, a cleric came up to me.
Greetings, little dragon. Are you a friend of the warped toad?
I am. What can you tell me about a netherite axe?
Well, the Ender Dragon is vulnerable to netherite weapons, according to stories I have heard. She isn't able to melt them with her fiery breath the way she would ordinary metal weapons. The combination of diamond and netherite makes it indestructible to her.
That's great news. Do you know where I can find some netherite?
Now that I'm afraid I don't know. I wish you luck though.
Okay, well thanks for the info. I started to head back to my base. As I was walking, a fireball hit the ground just a few feet away from me. Hey, what gives? I could see a fire dragon just up ahead.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't aiming for ya. I was aiming for those zombies.
Sure enough, he was fighting a horde of zombies. Want some help with that?
Yeah, I've got this.
He shot another fireball out of his mouth and blew up the rest of the zombies without any trouble at all. Whoa, that was awesome! Say, do you want to team up with me and help me fight the Ender Dragon?
No thanks, I'm good. Sorry kid, but I fly solo. Good luck with whatever you're doing though. Sounds like you're gonna need it.
From day 54 to day 57, I explored the crag garden some more. If I were some netherite, where would I be? Just as I was searching, the Ender Blaze popped up behind me again.
I don't know about netherite, but it looks like there's plenty of loserite here. Because you're a loser, you tiny noob dragon.
Ah, the Ender Blaze is back! I drew my weapon and got ready for a fight, but he was still way bigger and stronger than me. Oh no, I can't beat him yet!
And you never will. All hail the Ender Dragon. May her fire cleanse the land of all weakness.
I didn't have any choice but to run away as fast as I could. Next time I see that guy, I'll be ready. Meanwhile, back in the wooded Red Rock Mountains, the Ender Dragon was floating back and forth.
It's all coming together marvelously. Soon there will be only dragons and those who serve us. Any of my kind that refuse to join me will be dealt with swiftly. All else will be burned to ash or reduced to nothing but dust.
From day 58 to day 62, I went back to my base to check things out and figure out my next step. When I got there, I noticed something was different. There were walls. Wow, this looks great. The iron golem stepped forward.
Glad you think so. My mother always taught me that a good house guest helps out however they can. And I had some spare time, so I built some bigger walls.
Thank you. I still think the base needs something else though.
Maybe something decorative?
Yeah, like a statue. I know. I'll build a statue of an adult dragon to remind myself what I'm working toward. When I look like the statue, I'll know I'm done growing up. I gathered some materials and started constructing my adult dragon statue. Then I added some banners to the base to spruce up the place even more. Next, I used my diamonds to craft myself a diamond axe. What a great day! I'm one step closer to having what I need to defeat the Ender Dragon. I just have to stay brave and keep going. From day 63 to day 66, the cleric came to visit me at my base.
Zozo, the time has come for you to gather the remaining materials for the netherite axe. In order to find netherite, you must enter the nether.
Okay, how do I do that?
Through a portal, dear dragon. There is one I can lead you to, and once it is operational, you will be able to travel through it to the nether.
Oh, okay, neat.
Follow me, Zozo.
I followed the cleric out to the snowy blue taiga.
This is where the portal is. Unfortunately, it appears to be broken. You will not be able to pass through it until it has been repaired.
Oh, bummer. How do we fix it?
That I cannot tell you. I will return to my research and see what I can learn. In the meantime, explore this area and see if you can unlock the secrets of the portal for yourself.
I never could have dreamed becoming an adult dragon would be so much work, but I was ready for the challenge. If I needed a working portal to help me complete my quest, I would find a way to make it work. From day 67 to day 70, I wandered around the snowy blue taiga, looking for clues that might help me fix the broken portal.
Zozo, is that you, buddy?
Oh hey, Komodo Carl! What brings you all the way out here?
I came out here to visit some friends, but I ran into an ice dragon causing all kinds of trouble, freezing my vacation house.
Oh no, let's go see if we can stop it. I followed Komodo Carl to his vacation home, and sure enough, there was a great big ice dragon stomping all over the place. Hey, what are you doing? Cut that out!
You work for that infernal Ender Dragon. You can't tell me what to do.
I don't work for her anymore.
A likely story. Nice to meet you, little dragon. Prepare to be frozen in your tracks.
Then the ice dragon rushed at me and attacked. I had gotten a lot stronger and better at fighting though, and I was able to defeat him and knock him down. Please, listen to me. I don't work for the Ender Dragon anymore. In fact, I'm trying to stop her, but I need help to do it. If you join me, maybe we can stop her once and for all.
That would be more productive than taking out my rage on this random vacation home. You know what? I will join you.
From day 71 to day 74, I returned to my base and found the Ender Blaze had beaten me to it. He was launching fireballs at everything in sight and had already knocked down one of the walls completely. No, stop that!
If you want me to stop so badly, you'll have to fight me.
What if I'm not strong enough? I guess I'll have to try anyway. I attacked the Ender Blaze, but he knocked me down. He's still too strong. What do I do?
Perish.
He attacked me, but I dodged it.
Get away from our base, you fiend!
The Iron Golem attacked the Ender Blaze, but the Ender Blaze grabbed him.
I'll take this. Smell you later, foolish baby dragon.
The two of them teleported away in the blink of an eye. He'd kidnapped my friend. No! That was too far. I needed to get strong enough to beat the Ender Blaze so I could save the Iron Golem who had helped me so much. I won't let you down, Iron Golem, no matter what. I can promise you that much. First, I had to repair the damage to my base. I rebuilt the busted wall and added a guard tower and a fence for extra protection in case Ender Dragon sent any more minions to attack me. Looking at my hard work, I couldn't help but feel regret for not putting in all these security features earlier. Meanwhile, back in the Red Rock Mountains.
Excellent work, Ender Blaze. Without his little friend to help him, Zozo stands no chance. Not that he had one to begin with. There is none mightier than the Ender Dragon in all the land. And soon, everyone will bow down to me.
From day 75 to day 78, the Warped Toad came to see me at my base.
Zozo, I heard about what happened. I'm so sorry, little one. But all hope is not lost.
I know, I just have to work harder.
And you just need the right equipment. I'm sure you know by now that diamond weapons are more effective against the Ender Dragon, but they're also most effective against his Ender Blaze as well. I brought you this, and it should help you in your quest.
He handed me a diamond sword. Thank you. Do you know where the Ender Blaze might have taken my friend?
Yes, that was my second gift. You didn't give me a chance to show you. Anyway, here it is. Take this map, and it will lead you there. You've come a long way already, Zozo. I know you can do it.
Thank you. Armed with the map and my new diamond sword, I headed off to confront the Ender Blaze for what I hoped would be the last time. From day 79 to day 84, I followed the map to the Ender Blaze's base. Give me back my friend, you monster! He came out of the base to face me. I could see the Iron Golem trapped behind him.
Oh, I'm a monster, am I? And you aren't? For betraying the Ender Dragon, who took you under her wing and taught you what it means to be a dragon?
Being a dragon isn't about hurting innocent people and being a bully. She's a liar.
And you're a loser. Please, feel free to fight me again if you're so eager to taste defeat once more.
I drew my sword and attacked as fast as I could. He blocked my attack with ease, and I started to get worried. Oh no, is this new sword enough to defeat him?
Of course it's not.
He hit me hard, knocking me down. It was looking like things might be over for me, when suddenly the ice dragon slammed into the ender blaze.
Not so fast.
I thought you only worked alone.
I usually do, but I'm not gonna let the ender dragon ruin everything for our kind. Let's teach this guy a lesson. Here, take this.
He tossed me a dragon enhancement potion, which I drank quickly. Ugh, tastes gross. Even though it didn't taste good, the potion made me transform into a full-grown adult dragon, and I gained hearts.
Not such a little dragon anymore. Now, let's handle this ender blaze.
With the ice dragon's help and my brand new strength and size, we were finally able to defeat him and free the iron golem. From day 85 to day 89, I headed out to the Badlands to collect some terracotta I could use to finish off my statue. It was perfect timing, finishing the statue of an adult dragon when I was finally one myself. I returned to my base and put the finishing touches on the statue. That looks great! Then the cleric came back to see me.
Zozo, I have great news! I know how you can fix the nether portal. Take these obsidian blocks and use them to repair it. Then you can go through and collect the netherite you require.
Awesome! Thank you so much! I took the obsidian blocks and ventured back out to the snowy blue taiga where the broken portal was waiting for me. I used the blocks to fix the portal, and then I was ready to enter the nether. Wow, this place is kind of spooky. I looked around for a while, and I saw some ancient debris. Oh, that's it! If I get that ancient debris, I can get some netherite! But as I ran toward the ancient debris, an enderghast jumped out and attacked me! I don't have time for this! Get out of my way! With my new strength and size, it was easy to blow that enderghast away! Then I grabbed the ancient debris and headed back through the portal. Now I have everything I need! From day 90 to day 94, I emerged from the portal and was back in the snowy blue taiga. But my good mood didn't last long because the ender dragon was waiting for me.
Hello again, Zozo. You've grown, I see. Not a noob dragon any longer. You're a mighty beast now. Join me, come and work for me again. And together, we will conquer this puny land.
No, I'll never join you. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, well, you're just mean.
If that is your choice, then so be it. Hey, what's that behind you?
When I turned to look, she snatched the ancient debris out of my hands. Hey, give that back!
No, I don't think I will. I'll give you something to keep you busy, though.
As she got ready to fly away, she dropped a cage on me. I was trapped. From day 95 to day 97, I used my fiery breath to destroy the cage so I could escape. Yay, I'm out! But now what should I do? I know, I'll go see the warped toad and ask him what to do. I traveled to the enchanted forest and tracked down the warped toad. When I arrived, he was lying on the ground, dying. Who did this to you?
The Ender Dragon. She attacked me. I don't have much time. Listen to me. She's taken what she stole from you back to her base. You'll have to go there and retrieve it. Thank you for your heroism, Zozo. Goodbye.
No! I'll make her pay for this, I swear! On day 98, I returned to my base and was greeted by a horrible sight. My base was completely destroyed while I was gone. She must have come here too. Curse her! This is terrible! I looked around for my friends that were living there, but they were gone. Oh no, what do I do? My base, my leader, my friends. She took everything from me. Not everything. I turned around and the ice dragon was there. I'm sorry you're sad, Zozo, but I can help. If the two of us team up, I think we can take down the ender dragon together. What should we do?
We'll gather up our weapons and supplies, and we'll head to a base together. Then, we'll fight as hard as we can.
Okay, let's do it. On day 99, the ice dragon and I journeyed into the wooded Red Rock Mountains where the ender dragon's base was.
Ready?
Not really, but I don't have much of a choice. Let's give it our best shot.
Hello, traitors. Come to grovel at my claws?
The ender dragon rushed us both. No, we're here to take you down.
Ha, funny joke, but I'm finished laughing. Time to taste defeat.
Time for you to freeze. The ice dragon attacked the ender dragon, but she dodged the attack and came back with an even harder hit. She knocked the ice dragon down, and he didn't get back up. No! I attacked next, but the ender dragon was still way too strong. I did get one good hit in though, and she dropped the ancient debris. With no other choice, I grabbed it and ran all the way back to my base. There, I was finally able to craft the netherite axe. When I did, I felt the strength coursing through my body, and when I looked up, the ice dragon and lightning dragon were back. You're alive!
Sure am, and I'm ready for round 2.
On day 100, the dragons and I returned to the Ender Dragon's base. We can't let this lady keep giving dragons a bad name. Let's show her what it really means to be a dragon. All together, we attacked the base. The lightning dragon and the ice dragon worked together to fight off her minions, while I went inside to find the Ender Dragon. Your days of stepping on the little guy are done.
Ready to lose again so soon? If you're so eager, then let's fight.
Well, I've got this now. I pulled out the netherite axe, and she actually looked a little bit scared.
How did you get that?
With a lot of help, because unlike you, I believe in kindness and friendship and kicking your butt. I ran at her with the axe and started fighting. This time, I knew I was strong enough. Before long, I delivered the final blow, and the Ender Dragon fell to the ground. Finally, there can be peace between dragons and the rest of the world. On day 1, I spawned in as a zombie warden. Whoa, I guess I must be a warden who was revived into a zombie. What are the chances? I only had 6 hearts to start with, probably because I had just been brought back. I'll bet I can become a lot stronger than this. It looks like I already had the physical strength of a zombie and the senses of a warden. I could also perform a wicked sonic boom. Even after becoming a zombie, I've still got it. I realized that I was inside of some musty old tomb. There was a necromancer nearby who seemed to be jumping for joy.
Yes, I have done it! After so many tries, I have turned a warden into a zombie. Now my creation will serve me and do my bidding.
Whoa there, guy. I just got here. Don't I get to choose whether or not I do your bidding?
Free will? I guess I need to use a stronger control spell.
The necromancer started slinging magic at me. It was probably the control spell he mentioned. I didn't want to be controlled, so I started to run away. I ran off into a hallway of the tomb and found cover against the necromancer's spells. He was not happy about that.
You will serve me! Get him, Reaper!
An undead Reaper was summoned and ran towards me, chasing me, but I found a hole in the wall and squeezed through. On the other side were a bunch of coffins and gravestones. I guess I could rest here since I'm a zombie. I'll find a way out of this place tomorrow so I can stay free. On day 2, I took my first steps towards freedom and entered a forest inside of a cave. I thought that the way to the surface must have been somewhere around here. I could see perfectly in the darkness because of my warden senses, so I punched one of the trees and gathered enough wood to make a wooden axe and pickaxe. This forest was way bigger than I expected. I realized that I had no idea how to get to the surface from here, but I was determined to keep exploring this place until I did. I soon found out that I wasn't alone. There was some kind of warrior ghost floating around near a mysterious monument which was emitting a strong light.
Greetings! You must be another one of that necromancer's pawns, or at least you were.
I'm nobody's pawn. The name is Zozo, and I'm looking for a way out of this tomb so I can start a new life on the outside.
You're lucky you can move around so freely. I am ghost-bound to this monument, but my spirit is too strong to be controlled by that necromancer.
So he tried to make you his servant too?
Yes, but be warned, the necromancer was not the most evil thing in this tomb. There is a more ancient and deadly force living deep below, and it too may try to keep you here.
Good to know. Thank you for the heads up. I continued to explore the forest and ran into some cave-dwelling mooses. It was honestly a good thing because I had gotten very hungry. I'm eating mooses tonight. Or wait, is the plural moose or mooses? Or is it meese? Whatever it was, the raw moose ribs I got from the fight tasted great. It seems like most zombies, I've got an all-meat diet. On day 3, I found a wide-open cavern where I could start building an underground base. I can't be much of a warden without a place to ward. I mined some stone so that I could build a small shelter for myself. With the material situation sorted for now, I started to build myself a temporary tent-like base. I would need to get more materials before I could make a high-quality base, but this would do for now. I heard a sound behind me, and my keen warden senses told me that it was a soul eater. I fired off a sonic boom to tell it not to mess with me, but it seemed to only make it madder. The soul eater ran towards me and attacked. You're not getting my soul today! I fought back with my zombie strength, The Soul Eater was a tough enemy, but my sonic boom had weakened it before we got into melee range, so I was able to win the fight. I felt the souls that the Soul Eater had collected enter me and began to feel my power grow. My number of hearts doubled to 12, and I even became slightly larger. Later, with the rest of the wood I gathered, I built a fence around my shelter. On days 4 to 5, I searched the forest cavern for more materials to use for my base and to protect myself. I wonder if the entrance of the tomb has any materials that I might have missed. Even though it was risky, I went back in the direction of the tomb. When I arrived at the entrance, I found that the necromancer was there waiting for me. You again! I already told you that I won't be controlled. I am a free zombie!
You have no idea what is coming for you, Zozo. The Demon King promised me great rewards if I could build an undead legion for his army.
The Demon King? Who is that?
He has waited countless eons to make his return. This tomb was where the ancient heroes of the past sealed him away. But now that he has come back, the world will belong to him, and I will do my part to ensure that.
The necromancer cast another confusion spell, but I countered it with a perfectly timed sonic boom that stopped it in midair. Nice try, but I won't work for you, and I won't work for the Demon King. I blocked another confusion spell with my sonic boom and drew my sword. I ran toward the necromancer and struck him down.
You foolish zombie! You could have been on the winning side, but now you will pay the price for being a traitor!
He crumbled into dust, leaving nothing behind. On days 6 to 8, I began digging into the walls of the cavern so that I could find a way towards the outside. My brand new tunnel quickly turned into a mine, and I was able to gather a ton of stone. I built myself a full set of stone armor. While I was at it, I also upgraded my tools to stone. It was just in time because a pack of kobolds showed up right after to attack my base and try to steal my materials. I fired a sonic boom, which startled them, and then I hacked and slashed with my stone sword until I took down the entire group. I was starting to get the hang of the zombie warden fighting style, but I knew I'd be able to get even stronger. These upgrades are only the beginning. On days 9 to 10, I was in my mine when my stone pickaxe started breaking through netherrack. A few minutes later, I broke out of the wall and onto the surface. But the surface world was not how I imagined it. It was overrun with monsters. The entire landscape was filled with lava. Is this the work of the Demon King? If I was going to survive out here on my own, I was going to need some better materials. I looked around the dark landscape to see if I could find any. That's when I ran into the Demon King himself.
It is so good to be free. Or should I say bad to be free? Bad for you, that is.
You must be the Demon King. I'm the zombie warden of the tomb. Call me Zozo.
So, you're the one who defeated that necromancer and made me lose my undead army. No matter, I never needed them anyway. I will conquer the world without the undead.
He swiped his sword at me faster than I could let out a sonic boom. That one blow took out a lot of my health, and I could tell right then and there that the Demon King was too strong for me to defeat.
What's the matter, Zozo? Are you scared?
Yeah, a little. That's why I'm getting out of here. I turned and ran back towards my underground base. For some reason, the Demon King didn't choose to follow me.
Why would I return to the tomb I was sealed in? I have the whole world to destroy now.
When I arrived back at the hillside, I was surprised to see a familiar enemy. It was the Reaper that the necromancer had summoned to fight me. Back for more, Reaper?
Not at all. I came to thank you for setting me free from that spellcaster's control.
Oh, I guess we're cool then.
We're more than cool. I saw the way you stood up to the Demon King. Perhaps we can work together and take him down.
But I ran away.
You ran away a second more than anyone else, which means you're braver than you know. Besides, if we want to keep our freedom, we'll have to face him eventually. He'll send another necromancer to control us before long.
Point taken. I guess it's you and me, Reaper.
Please, call me Grimsley.
On days 11 to 12, I invited Grimsley back to my base and began to build another structure to house him. While I was at it, I popped my tent back up, then decided that wasn't enough. so I turned my tent into a watchtower. That way, I could observe what was happening on the surface while I was in my base. I spent some time out in the surface world gathering materials to craft new items. The surface world had a lot of warped stems, and I made sure to get as much as I could. I then proceeded to explore the area some more. I mean, who knows what I might find here? While I was exploring, I spotted a mob. It was headed my way, so I got ready for a fight. I blasted the approaching lava monster with my sonic boom, but it didn't do much damage. My stone weapons also had no effect on the creature at all. Oh no, I'm too weak. I need to get a better weapon and come back. I disappeared into the forest and retreated away from the battlefield. Using some of my leftover stone, I crafted myself a brand new mace for combat. It was a slow weapon, but it had a lot of power, and that suited me just fine. The next time I saw that lava monster, I took him down in one hit. Hooray! Now this is a weapon I can use! I decided not to stop there. The mace was great, but I could use a durable set of armor to match. Some iron tools wouldn't hurt either. I went back to my personal mineshaft and began to dig for iron. It didn't take me too long to find enough to improve my tools and armor level. I smelted the iron down and crafted myself a full set of iron armor and tools. On days 13 to 15, the ghost of the ancient warrior called me to his side and told me the tale of the Demon King.
100 years ago, the world was under attack by a Demon King and his army of demons and monsters. The big evil guy had succeeded in uniting the demons, the undead mobs, and the two-headed ogre tribe into an unstoppable fighting force. The villagers and animals tried to stand against the Demon King, but they were no match. It seemed that all hope was lost, until one day, the legendary heroes appeared. I was one of them. Together, myself and my companions used our legendary weapons to strike deadly blows on the Demon King, weakening him enough for our cleric to trap him inside of the tomb we now stand inside. It seems as though the seal held for exactly 100 years before being broken. I can only imagine that this is because there were no heroes powerful enough to use that spell in the modern day.
So you're saying that even you and the other legendary heroes couldn't defeat the Demon King back then, and then the only way was to seal him, even though it didn't last?
It's better than letting him rampage around and do whatever he wants.
I don't know. Even if there was somebody who could cast the sealing spell these days, would it even matter? It's like putting a band-aid on a broken sword. I'm sorry, but it doesn't sound like there is anything that can be done. On days 16 to 19, I couldn't find Grimsley anywhere in the base, even in the house I built for him. Grimsley wouldn't just leave without telling me. I better look for him. It was a good thing I was part warden, because wardens are really good at finding things. I wandered out farther than I ever had before, to a hill with dark grass and strange ruins on top of it. I spotted Grimsley, but he wasn't alone. There was another mob there, and it looked like it was wearing a magic robe. Oh no, another necromancer has tried to capture Grimsley. I got closer, and I saw that I was correct. The cloaked figure had him enclosed in a ritual circle, and Grimsley was trapped.
Zozo, is that you? Help me!
Don't worry, Grimsley, I'll save you! I fired a sonic boom, which disrupted the necromancer's chanting. He got angry and fired some evil bolts at me. I circled around the hill, using the ruins as cover. I managed to catch him by surprise and wind up an overhead smash with my mace. See you later! The magic circle collapsed when the caster was defeated, and Grimsley was set free.
Well done, Zozo! I thought I was gonna be controlled again for sure!
Don't worry, buddy, I gotcha. Neither of us will ever be controlled again. This time, the Demon King won't have the help of the undead. We'll be fighting against him.
That's the spirit! Or should I say, we're the spirits.
Inspired by Grimsley's words, I felt myself began to grow and change. My number of hearts increased to 20, and I also gained increased melee damage. Zombie-rific! It was just in time, too, because we were joined by a troop of knights. Their leader wore ice armor.
Freeze, undead servants of the Demon King! I, Sir Frost, will put you on ice.
It's cool. We don't actually work for the Demon King, and we're gonna make sure no other undead has to either.
Oh, pardon the misunderstanding then. I'll be off to continue facing his forces and searching for the legendary blade of demon sealing.
Wait, a blade like that exists?
We certainly hope so. It is said to contain the magic of the cleric who sealed him the first time.
Well, if you need any help, you know who to call. Me, Zozo. On days 20 to 22, I went back to the base, only to find it overrun with giant centipedes. Alright, you bugs, prepare to get squashed. They were quick, but not very tough, so I used my sword instead of my mace. I figured this place needed a statue, one that would show those knights that allies could be found here, in the remnants of the Demon King's tomb. It would have to be brave and mighty, not to mention cool. Sir Frost will be so impressed that he'll make me his second in command. Plus, he's probably the modern-day descendant of one of those legendary heroes who beat the Demon King. That's how it usually works. I needed white and blue for the statue to really look like him, so I went to gather some dolomite and lapis. I managed to mine quite a bit of the materials I needed and went back to the base. With access to those materials, I could start working on the statue. It was really starting to come together and look like a base of something great. What do you think it'll be? While you're leaving a comment on what you think it'll be, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you can see more of my amazing adventures. On days 23 to 26, the kobolds returned in even greater numbers. This time, they had some ranged weapons on them too. I guess kobolds were craftier than I thought. Fortunately, my melee damage had gotten stronger and I could easily deal with them. One of the kobolds I defeated dropped a bow and a quiver full of poison-tipped arrows. This would make a good backup ranged weapon for my sonic boom. Since there were no necromancers to cast spells on me, I took a trip down into the depths of the tomb. It looked like they had been taken over by a den of slimes and spiders, and they were in the middle of a territory struggle. Am I interrupting something? I cleared out the vermin and gathered up their webs and slime balls. Once I returned to the base, I was able to craft those materials into some leads. After I was done with that, I spotted another kobold jumping in front of my base and ran down to face it. Oh, hey, there's still another kobold back here. Back for another fight.
No way! I want to join you guys. The other kobolds were always mean to me.
Oh, I didn't know. Don't worry, buddy. I gotcha. I built a new house for the kobold and set him up with a workshop to make new weapons and gizmos.
Let me make it up to you by building some traps around the base for you.
On days 27 to 31, I returned to the forest and talked to the ancient warrior about the legendary blade that Sir Frost mentioned. Apparently, this blade can seal the Demon King away again. Does that sound like something that the other legendary warriors might have done?
It is possible that the cleric planned ahead and sealed one more spell into the legendary weapon, but I've been trapped here the whole time as a guardian ghost, so I have no idea what happened in those 100 years.
I suppose I'll have to go looking and see what the world is like out there.
The Demon King is most likely sending his minions to destroy whatever is left of the legendary hero's descendants. If you can find them first, one of them probably knows how to find the legendary blade.
Well then, there's no time to waste. Thanks, ancient warrior. I'm out of here. I journeyed out into the wilderness in search of the legacy that the legendary heroes left behind. I came upon a bridge over a deep ravine, which was guarded by a two-headed giant.
Just try to get past us. You won't.
Watch me. I shot a poison-tipped arrow into the giant and watched as their health started to get chipped away.
Why, you...
The giant charged right into the path of my swinging mace. Kapow! The hit knocked them back, causing them to stumble over the side of the ravine. The two-headed giant fell all the way to the bottom, but didn't disappear. I quickly ran across the bridge before they found a way back up. On days 32 to 35, I found a grove full of trees, and in it were a bunch of songbirds.
Hello, traveler. What brings you to this peaceful place?
My name is Zozo, and I'm here in search of a legendary blade that can seal the Demon King.
Oh, the Blade of the Cleric. This place was created by one of the other legendary heroes, so we've heard of it, but we're not sure where it is.
Darn it, this is still a very nice clearing. But wait, if it was made by the heroes, then... Just as I realized, the Demon King came rushing into the grove. He used his magic staff and destroyed half of the grove in one hit. Luckily, I'm here. Run away, birds. I'll distract him. The songbirds ran away just in time, as the Demon King was right next to me.
We meet again, Zozo. This time I'll destroy you.
It seemed like he meant it. He was immune to the poison of my arrows, and he closed in on me before I could use my sonic boom. Thinking quickly, I surprised him with my increased melee damage.
Impressive, but it will take more than that to defeat me.
I guess we'll find out next time. I ran off while the Demon King just stood there, laughing. But at least I lived to fight another day. Just as I got far enough away, I spotted one of the songbirds. I'm sorry about your home.
We'll be able to find a new home. You saved us, and that's what matters.
My base can be your new home.
Oh, sweet.
On days 36 to 39, I constructed an aviary where the birds could live as peacefully as they did back at the Grove. Can you tell me anything else you know about the legendary heroes?
There were 4 of them in total. The warrior, the cleric, the singer, and the ice knight. The singer was the one who made our grove, and I hear that the ice knight founded an order of brave warriors who dwell in the snowy north.
That sounds like Sir Frost and his companions. I should go visit them.
The good thing about the north is that it's very well protected. The Demon King will have to spend a lot of resources to claim it. If there's another place where his forces can be resisted, it would be there.
Awesome! I should get prepared and make this alliance official. The undead can team up with the knights, and together we'll find the legendary blade. Then we'll show the Demon King who's really boss. But before I left to go explore the snowy north, I did a bit more on my statue. I felt inspired because I was reminded of Sir Frost. On days 40 to 43, another undead showed up at the base, and I welcomed them into the ranks of the resistance.
Hi, my name is Gabby Ghoul.
Welcome to the team, Gabby.
Thanks. I'm from the lower east side of the tomb, and I know there are some really good materials behind a secret door.
That sounds cool. Will you show us where the secret door is?
Sure, since you asked so nicely.
Gabby showed us the secret door in the lower east tomb, and sure enough, there was gold ore which could be used to craft some very valuable gold items. It was almost too good to be true, but it was true, and there was a warder there to make it a little less good. I did a sonic boom on the dangerous mob and performed a combo with my mace. It took a few more hits than most of the enemies I'd faced, but it went down just like the rest of them. Wow, there's a lot of useful stuff back here. I have some materials to give to the kobold trapsmith. I returned to the kobold and gave him all of the materials I collected. I'm sure he will make great use of them. On days 44 to 49, I traveled across the land until I reached the snowy north. If I were human, I'd probably have to wear a coat. Thank goodness I'm undead. The local mobs were completely different from the ones that I had encountered in the lands that the Demon King had ransacked. But just because they weren't working for the Demon King didn't mean they were friendly. A winged imp monster known as a Vex swooped from out of the sky and tried to take me down. That hurt. I guess it's time to get serious. I swung my mace at the creature, but it was too slow. It flew back up into the sky out of melee range, but that was a mistake on the mob's part because I used my sonic boom to drop it. I decided to travel deeper in and noticed more of these things, and also that they were attacking a poor Arctic fox. I drew my bow and arrow. I had the element of surprise, so I launched arrows into all of them. The Vexes were poisoned and defeated. That's when a fox approached me, looking very relieved.
Whew, that was helpful. Thank you.
That's what I do. I help people.
Are you part of the Ice Knight Order? I've been looking for them.
So have I. I need their help with finding a legendary blade.
The one that can seal the Demon King back? So it does exist. At least my village wasn't attacked for nothing. The Demon King's forces are there right now, looking for it. I need the knights to come and save us.
I guess we've got the same goal. Let's see what we can do together. On days 50 to 53, the fox and I traveled further into the snowing north, trying to avoid the prying eyes of the Vexes.
Maybe if we look around, we'll find someone who can give you a bit more information about the blade of the cleric. There are a lot of people who hate the Demon King, so they'll probably be willing to help out.
But the one person I didn't want to see was the multi-headed giant. He'd finally tracked me down, and he wanted some payback.
Is this a friend of yours, Zozo?
Yeah, something like that. I rushed in and unleashed my sonic boom, but he dodged the sonic boom and charged at me. I guess two heads are finally looking better than one. But I was stronger than I was all those days ago, and I didn't need only my sonic boom to fight my enemies. As the giant got closer, I pulled out my mace and jumped into the air. One strike of my mace to the giant's multiple heads, and he was defeated.
That was amazing. You're a real hero, Zozo.
I'm just a zombie warden doing his best. As Fox and I continued to explore, we found a mutant snow golem camping. Hey, Mr. Snow Golem, I'm Zozo, and I'm looking for the Sword of the Cleric. Do you know where I can find it?
Sorry to burst your bubble, kid, but it doesn't work that way. You don't just find the Sword of the Cleric. Legends say that when you reveal yourself to be worthy, only then will the sword find its way to you.
Oh, so I'm not a real hero yet?
You don't have the sword, so probably not. But you seem like a good kid. Take this protection enchantment. It'll help you on your quest.
Thanks, Mr. Snow Golem. I appreciate it. On days 54 to 57, I made the long and hard journey back across the map, then went underground to my base. I decided to apply the protection enchantment to my chestplate so I'd be able to withstand more powerful attacks easier. Afterwards, I noticed that the kobold installed some traps, a lava chest trap, a diamond door trap, and a pit trap. Hopefully these will never have to come in handy, but good to have them, just in case. Just then, Grimsley approached me with an important task.
Zozo, thank goodness you're here! Gabby Ghoul has gotten sick. I fear that it's some kind of hex caused by the Demon King. I can make a healing potion to help her, but I need you to collect some apples from the Warped Forest. It's a vital ingredient.
Don't worry, Grimsley, I'll be right on it. You stay here and tend to Gabby. I quickly went to the overworld and began exploring the Warped Forest until I happened upon some apples. I collected as many as I could, wanting to make sure there was enough for Gabby's healing potions. I went back to the underground base and gave Grimsley the apples.
This is perfect, Zozo. I have even more than I need. Here, take a few of these spare health potions. You never know when they might come in handy.
On days 58 to 62, I decided to take a load off and work on the statue after a pretty stressful week. Everyone needs a little relaxation time. Can you guess what it is yet? But just as I was about to continue my statue build, I noticed that a gang of demonic reavers working for the Demon King suddenly started attacking my base. Leave it to a guy called the Demon King to never fight fair. But I had an ace in the hole. As the reavers tried to ransack my base, they activated the different traps. A few fell into the lava pit, some more fell for my pit trap, and one of them even fell for my diamond ore trap. And even more were taken out by my sonic booms. I'll take on as many reavers as the Demon King can send at me. But I wasn't prepared for a sneak attack from behind from Grimsley, the Reaper, which knocked me down. Grimsley, how could you? I thought we were friends.
I'm so sorry, Zozo. We are friends, but the Demon King somehow reactivated the Necromancer's control spell. I'm not in control of my own body. He is.
Grimsley, you have to fight it. I promise I'll help free you.
I'm worried you're already too late, Zozo. Just promise me you'll stay safe and don't follow me.
And with that, the mind-controlled Grimsley ran off. On day 63 to day 66, I took one of the healing potions that Grimsley made for me and chased him out of the base. Looks like he's headed for the Warped Forest. I need to chase him and snap him out of this funk. I followed him until I caught up with him in the darkness of the forest. It was just me and Grimsley facing off.
Zozo, I told you not to follow me. It was a trap from the Demon King all along.
That's when even more reavers came out of the forest to battle me. It looked like more than I could even take on. Grimsley, I need you to help me.
I can't help you, Zozo. I'm not in control.
You have to fight, Grimsley. You're not just a servant of the Necromancer or the Demon King. You're your own person. I could see that Grimsley was struggling to regain control, and eventually, Grimsley snapped out of it.
You're right, Zozo. I am my own person. Now let's show these reavers that we mean business.
Grimsley and I fought off the reavers together. Between the two of us, those servants of evil stood no chance.
Thank you for never giving up on me, Zozo.
I'll never give up on a friend.
And as it turns out, when the Demon King invaded my mind, I also invaded his. I got a vision of a cave deep in the basalt deltas. We might be able to find something useful there.
On days 67 to 70, Grimsley and I decided we'd make our way to the Basalt Deltas cave together and take the fight to the Demon King. Do you think the blade of the cleric is in there, Grimsley?
Only if you're worthy. And look, that might be a good way to prove yourself.
Grimsley was gesturing to a huge, scary Wendigo that was patrolling the outside of the cave. He must have been another demonic servant of the Demon King. I'll go in first. Follow my lead. I ran towards the Wendigo and unleashed a sonic boom. It was more formidable than anything I'd ever faced before. Thankfully, I still had my mace. I pulled it out and hit the Wendigo several times as it roared and shrieked, but the attacks only made it angrier. Then, the Wendigo started fighting back. Every time it hit or bit me, it was knocking off heart after heart. It was terrifying. There was nothing I could do to stop it. I saw my life flashing before my eyes when suddenly Grimsley stormed in to save me.
Leave my friend alone, Wendigo, or you're gonna learn exactly why you should fear the Reaper.
Grimsley attacked! I don't know if he hurt the Wendigo, but he spooked it enough to finally run it off. You really saved me there, Grimsley. Thank you.
Just repaying my debt, Zozo. Now let's take a look inside the cave.
On day 71 to day 74, we entered the cave, hoping to find the Blade of the Cleric waiting for me. But no, the cave was empty, and I was devastated. I guess I'm still not worthy.
It's okay, Zozo. I'm sure we'll be able to find it. We just need to believe in ourselves.
We better start believing harder, because if we don't, then the Demon King is gonna rise to full power, and without the Blade of the Cleric, there will be nothing we can do to stop him. On day 75 to day 78, I returned to my base and decided it was time to upgrade my mace since it was about to break. So I did just that and crafted a new mace. Then I decided to supercharge it and applied the sharpness enchantment on it to improve its hitting power. Nobody will want to mess with me now. But that was wrong because the Wendigo who'd gotten away in the Badlands suddenly appeared, and he was here for me. Unlike the Reavers, he wasn't tricked by any of the traps. He had my scent, and he was coming straight for me with his teeth and claws ready. But this time though, I had my upgraded mace, and I was ready to fight back. The Wendigo squared up, and I hit him back. And after that hit, he didn't get back up. Because the Wendigo was so powerful, defeating him gave me a lot of XP, causing me to get bigger, stronger, and finally reach 30 hearts. I was one of the most powerful zombie wardens in the world. I was even starting to look more like an actual warden and became pretty buff. This is my coolest upgrade yet. That's when I had a vision. I needed to return to the snowy north. Something would be waiting for me there. Something I needed if I wanted to defeat the Demon King. So of course, there was no time to waste. On day 79 to day 84, I traveled into the snowy north until I found a fortress that looked like something out of my vision. And as it turned out, it was this fortress that was manned by Sir Frost and his knights, just who I wanted to see. I went to Sir Frost's planning room, where we began to discuss the thing on both of our minds, the Demon King.
I've spent my entire life preparing to confront the Demon King if he ever rose again. And in all that time, all that responsibility, I feel I've learned so little. All I know is that he'll likely reach his greatest power soon.
Then we should probably stick together. He'll want to get rid of all of us as part of his rise to power, but that'll be harder if we're working with each other. Come back to my base. We'll be safe there, Sir Frost.
You make a good point, Zozo. I'll prepare my things. We'll head off shortly.
On day 85 to day 89, I returned to my base to check on Gabigool, who had started living inside of my statue, and ask her how she was recovering from the hex that the Demon King had put on her.
I'm feeling a lot better now, Zozo. Thank you. And there's something I should tell you. I've been having visions lately. The Demon King, I know he's hiding somewhere with blue trees. Does that mean anything to you?
Blue trees? That has to be the Warped Forest. That's the only place that looks like that. Thank you, Gabby. I know where to find him now. On day 90 to day 94, I went into the mines and managed to get extremely lucky and mine my first set of diamonds. If I'm gonna face the Demon King, I need some extremely tough armor. I forged myself a full set of diamond armor, which would defend me against almost anything. And then I went about enchanting every piece of my armor just so that I would be as prepared as possible. Diamonds are a zombie warden's best friend. On day 95 to day 97, I finished the statue. It was the statue made in tribute to one of the coolest warriors I know, Sir Frost. He'd spent his whole life searching for ways to stop the Demon King, and looking at his statue, I knew I'd be honored to spend my unlife doing the same. The Demon King would fall, and it would be because of me. On day 98, all the preparations had been made. The last thing I was able to do was talk to my friends I'd made who were staying at my base. First, I spoke to Grimsley.
I believe you can do this, Zozo. With or without the Blade of the Cleric, you're a true hero, and you will defeat this monstrous villain.
Next, I spoke to Gabigool.
You're brave and kind, Zozo, and that will serve you well against the Demon King. Never forget that.
And of course, Sir Frost, the Ice Knight.
Are you sure you want to do this alone, Zozo? I would happily fight by your side, if you so will it.
Thank you, Sir Frost. You've been fighting this fight a long time. Let me finish it for you. And if you want to help me, the best thing you can do is subscribe to Zozo and ring the bell to always be notified of the next adventure. On day 99, with everything said, I left the underground base and made my way deep into the horrors of the Nether. The first stop was the Crimson Forest, the only way to the warped forest Gabby had mentioned, where the Demon King would be waiting. That's when I saw something crawling out of the ground. It was another warden, just like me, except he wasn't zombified.
You worthless traitor! The Necromancer and the Demon King gave you everything, and yet you rebel. You make me sick, you undead freak!
I'd rather be undead and free than alive and taking orders from the Demon King. The enemy warden tried to unleash a sonic boom on me, but I wasn't about to waste time on him when I had the biggest fish to fry. I unleashed my sonic boom, and the enemy warden was completely destroyed.
Traitor!
And with him out of the way, it was time to enter the warped forest and finally finish this thing. On day 100, I entered the warped forest and prepared myself for the fight of my own life. It wouldn't be easy. First, I had to deal with the Endermen. They kept teleporting around me, and it took both my mace and my Mega Sonic Boom to take care of them. It doesn't matter how much you delay, I'm gonna take on your boss soon enough. I thought I'd need to keep searching for the Demon King, but instead, the Demon King came for me. He floated down towards me, ready to fight.
You again? That little failed experiment that killed the Necromancer. Are you truly foolish enough to think you can best me, the Demon King?
And with that, he began to grow, becoming a far bigger and more powerful version of himself than I'd ever seen. He had finally reached his full power. Even if I can't beat you, I'm still going to fight you, because what kind of person would I be if I didn't?
A living one.
The Demon King pulled out a powerful bow and started shooting me with it. I tried to dodge, but was quickly overwhelmed due to the sheer power of it.
Weak! How disappointing! Destroying you will be an act of mercy!
Just as I thought I'd be doomed, I noticed something had been added to my inventory. It was the blade of the cleric. My act of bravery had finally earned it. As soon as I equipped the blade, I saw myself growing, getting more powerful. I was bigger, stronger, and even had a mighty 50 hearts. There would be no stopping me now! Okay, Demon King, are you ready for a real fight? With the blade of the cleric, I attacked the Demon King, striking him again and again, forcing him further back into the warped forest, weakening him, breaking him down. I could tell he was afraid.
Zozo, wait! Clearly you're strong! How about we join forces? Imagine the power we could have together!
Nice offer, but I think I'll stick with my friends, Demon King. With one last blast of my sonic boom, the Demon King was destroyed, and the world was saved! After that, I went back to the base happy to finally relax.